what is in your life's blueprint.
So the jury has pretty much decided,
trying to get across to the folks here,
and we're waiting for
it's a mix
it
of
to be
emotions
announced. Like the
that
video, subscribe to the
definitely
channel.
warrants our paying close attention to what's going on out here.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We want everybody to keep their cool. Everybody's got opinions. They're expressing that. You've got the right to do that, but we want to make sure everybody stays safe while they are in front of that courthouse.
So it's 7:12 now, 12 minutes past
Definitely.
7 o'clock. Last word from our Lori Brown, who's been steadfast in that courthouse.
Yes, she has.
And stayed in that courtroom, is that the verdict is in, reportedly. People returning to the courtroom at 7:10, which is a couple of minutes past. So we expect to hear from Lori Brown as soon as she has more information to update us.
And right now we've got Bree West, who's on the line. She's a criminal defense attorney. Bree, you've been watching this all day. Thanks for joining us. We could be hearing.
Thank you for having me.
We could be hearing the punishment very soon.
Yeah, I think it's, this is a tough case for this entire community. Karmelo Anthony found guilty of murdering the victim in this case, the victim's family, sort of accepting that verdict, understanding that verdict, Karmelo Anthony's family accepting that verdict, understanding that verdict. This is really tough, I think, for this entire community.
So, Bree, Sean Rabb, good to see you tonight. We are waiting for punishment. We are waiting for the length of that punishment. Certainly, Bill Werski has said this is not sudden passion. The jurors obviously said no to the idea of self-defense. Bill Werski has said send a lengthy sentence, send a message that we will not tolerate senseless violence in this community. That sounds like 40 years plus is what he's hoping this jury will return with.
I think that having done criminal defense and being a prosecutor sort of for a combined 17 years certainly in Dallas County as a neighboring county to Collin County, times are changing. I think that there was a period of time where communities would understand the facts of this case as tragic, but also would be able to listen to the facts and the evidence and render, I think, an appropriate sentence, an appropriate verdict. I think many people believed that there was a tremendous amount of evidence related to a reckless act on the part of Karmelo Anthony, and therefore likely that the jury would have come back with a manslaughter. I think that would have obviously capped Karmelo Anthony at a 20-year sentence. I don't know whether or not this community is going to sentence a 19-year-old kid who is very young, his brain is not fully developed, to a 40-year prison sentence. I think that that's exactly what the district attorney's office may be asking for, may be hoping for, may have argued for. However, I think that there is something to be said for redemption, rehabilitation, which would look like a much shorter sentence.
The fact that Karmelo Anthony's mother was the only witness who spoke in his favor, in his behalf, asking for mercy from the jury. You're not involved with this case, but how effective could that be? And are you surprised that there was only one witness on his behalf?
She already did that.
I think that most people, myself included, are a little baffled by a single witness being called for a 19-year-old defendant that was just convicted of murder. I think that there is a lot of room for all kinds of expert witnesses to be able to testify about the juvenile brain, about the development of impulse control over a period of time. I think that there was certainly witnesses that may have been able to testify very specifically about about what kind of student he was, what kind of athlete he was, what type of opportunity he, sort of may have had going forward in his life. And that's not to take away from the life of Austin Metcalf, but it absolutely is to say that this is not a soul that we absolutely throw away and say there's no possible, hope for you to rehabilitate and ensure that you don't make this choice again. I think that it is interesting to say the one person that you called is the one person that everybody would expect to say that their child is amazing and please have mercy and please, don't throw him away. I mean, I think that that's what a mother would and should say about their own child that's just been convicted of murder. And so I think it would have been important for a jury to hear from people that are a little bit detached from Karmelo Anthony. True. So a juvenile, a psycho, a neuropsychological expert. I mean, somebody that can really talk about the way that this young man's brain will ultimately develop so that he does not make this choice again. And I'm baffled really by why we didn't see any of that.
Very interesting. We've heard from a number of our attorney friends who have really said we thought we'd hear more.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't know the plan of the defense team. We don't know what they have talked about with Karmelo Anthony and his family. So we're not privy to all of that information. But I think that's why, whatever those reasons are the reasons that they only called a half dozen witnesses. And ultimately, the reason they only had one witness, in the punishment phase. So.
And I think that we truly cannot Monday night quarterback this thing. I do agree that there are countless conversations that you have with your client. There are countless conversations that you have with your client's loved ones and family. There is a tremendous amount of strategy that goes into every decision that you make as a defense attorney, as a defense team. And so I will say, while it seems quite interesting that only one witness was called, there could have been, sort of discussions and strategy around the only person that Karmelo Anthony wanted to speak on his behalf was his mother. There are lots of things that could have been considered, and we always remember that when it comes to any sort of criminal prosecution, any sort of criminal trial, that the person charged, the citizen accused, the person convicted is the driver of that ship. And so even if we as defense attorneys may think that there are better strategies, different strategies, would have done things differently, would have handled cases differently, we are wholly guided by the wishes and the desires of our client. And in this case, because he's so young, I don't doubt for one second that his family played a huge role in the decisions that he made.
So let me ask you this. Let's talk about now what's happening with these jurors at this moment. You've been in the seat waiting for the answer. You've been in both seats, Bree. So let's talk about what's happening with the jurors at this moment as they try to assess years of confinement.
It's really tough, I think, for the jurors, especially under these facts, because you have to remember, none of these jurors are lawyers. Most of them probably have had zero contact with the criminal justice system. And so to ask them to come up with an appropriate punishment or appropriate sentence is a huge lift, because they have no basis to know where to start, right? And so one of the reasons that we call witnesses during the punishment phase is to help jurors make a decision beyond the arguments that the attorneys make about where do I begin in my deliberations for assessing punishment under these sets of facts, understanding that I'm now needing to factor in everything that I can possibly know about Karmelo Anthony, about his life, about where he comes from, about where he's going, and really figure out what is most appropriate. Because what we're asking a jury to do, which is a unique thing in Texas, right? Where in Texas, we allow juries to impose punishment, impose sentences,
right,
which is unusual in the United States. But because we do that, we have a responsibility to educate them to say what is an appropriate punishment when you're looking at the whole person here. Because I think it's easy to say, oh, well, you killed someone, so let's sentence you to life. I think that's an easy thing. I think what's much more meaningful is to say, let us dissect everything that we possibly can, not only about the offense, not only about the victim, but about this defendant and what can, where he can go and grow from this experience. And I'm hoping that this jury, looks at a 19-year-old kid and says, I'm not sure that we need to throw this kid away. I'm not sure that the right and appropriate punishment here is that he spend the rest of his life in prison and confined.
And so
that there is hope and there is a future here.
All of this is speculation at the moment, but they've been deliberating 2 hours and 20 minutes or so on the punishment phase. They deliberated about 3 hours, not quite 3 hours, I guess, so maybe a little over 3 hours on the guilt or innocence. Does that tell you anything at this moment?
At this moment, that feels really fast. That feels really fast. Now, it could be really fast in part because they weren't given a lot to think about, right? Like normally you want everybody to have to sift through like the brain scans or the neuropsych report or the, pre-sentence investigation or just information. You want them to spend time sifting through that, reading word for word. But in this particular instance, that wasn't the case here. So it feels like it's lightning speed, but maybe not, right? Because they only have so much information that they can consider. And, there's only so much time you're going to go around and around in a circle about what people's thoughts and opinions are.
Right. That's good.
So, but if you're saying that you would expect or you would have expected reports, you would have expected more than just the mother speaking, why do you think that didn't happen?
And again, I think that I think you've seen, right? There's so many people that are Monday night quarterbacking what the decisions were as it relates to the defense team and why they called who they called and why they didn't call anybody else. And I don't know that I can really say with any level of clarity, sort of why we landed here. But I do think that there's something to be said for, painting a complete picture of Karmelo Anthony to say that this is a 19-year-old kid. He made a bad choice. Another person lost his life, but his life matters too.
And it's really impossible for us to know at this moment until we can hear from the defense team. Remember, there was a gag order imposed in this case, so we weren't able to talk to the attorneys leading up even to this trial, as we so often do, to learn what we can, glean what we can about their defense and how they plan to approach the case. What we learned about it really was during voir dire, that it appears as if they're going to make self-defense their claim.
They're going to consider passion of crime, so the max he can get is 20.
The jury in voir dire.
Yeah, that's the max.
So we're being told by Lori Brown, our reporter in the courtroom, that Austin Metcalf's family is there, but only Karmelo Anthony's grandmother is there at this hour, but not his parents who were there earlier. Maybe they're coming tonight.
I can't imagine that his parents are not going to be in that courtroom.
Right. It's not that kind of situation. There have been cases, and you perhaps have tried those cases on either table, where the person had no support, the defendant had no support, nobody there with them. This is not that type of case or family.
And that's what makes this so interesting, right? It does seem like, sort of what you begin to learn, about Karmelo Anthony is that he has a two-parent household.
Man, right? I'm going to tell you right now, them parents ain't never been through none of that. They moved away from New Orleans and they going through that over here. That lady is sick to her stomach. Okay, this is her version of experiencing the death of a child. That's how equivalent her pain is. Her and the Metcalfs are in the same situation. Only thing is, one is not coming home and they're gonna always be accessible via telephone, writing, going to visit him, but you're not gonna know what's going on or what he's going through in there. And the other one can't even speak. One in the ground, one in behind bars. It's the same fucking shit. I swear to God. And if you're not black in this country and been through systemic racism, you just don't know that.
The number of years that a person is going to be incarcerated. Tell us about that.
You know, the way that we talk about guilt, the guilt innocence phase of trial versus the punishment phase of trial, guilt innocence is a snapshot in time. It is what happened in this moment between these two people. It is only a decision about whether or not the defendant is guilty of committing the offense charge, just that moment in time. And then we talk about punishment being the photo album, the whole story, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? Maybe you walked little old ladies across the street helping them with their groceries, or maybe you were the worst person on the face of the planet. But it's really all about everything about the defendant, right? Because when you get to the punishment phase, you are punishing that person. When you're talking about guilt and innocence, you're talking about, sort of what are the circumstances about, regarding all of it, right? Regarding that moment in time, the victim, the circumstances, the defendant. But once we get to the punishment phase, we're really just talking about what is an appropriate punishment for this one individual in terms of how they live their life and where they might go. And so there's a huge difference in the analysis, right, between do I find this person guilty or not guilty versus if I found them guilty, what is an appropriate punishment understanding this whole person's life? And so you're exactly right. It's a totally different analysis. And I'm hoping that this jury feels, sort of given the tools and feels confident enough to be able to say, okay, I understand what my role is here in the punishment phase, that it's beyond just this moment in time. It really is the entirety of Karmelo Anthony.
Right, and there's not a lot to look at. There's no juvenile history. There's nothing. I mean, again, sometimes it's easier if I'm a juror and I have someone sitting in front of me that has this long history of doing bad things. It's easier for me to come to some conclusions about how long that person should be put away. And maybe that's part of what we're going to find out tonight when we hear what their final decision is, because there wasn't a lot to look at in terms of a bad history. The kid didn't have that. Neither one of these kids had that.
Right.
That's a lie.
But that in and of itself is significant, right? Like, so if it's easy to say, oh, I have this long criminal history sitting in front of me, that makes it a little bit easier for me to understand that this person is maybe generally a bad person and therefore they deserve more punishment, that if I don't have that in front of me, if I don't have a long criminal history, if things aren't bad for this person, that one would assume that means that this person perhaps deserves less punishment, right? Because they haven't lived their life as a terrible person. They haven't hurt people and, done all types of different things beyond this one incident. And so I think that there is an argument to be made that, if you are not seeing all of those things that might make it easy to be able to sentence somebody to an extended period of time in prison, that in and of itself means that the sentence should reflect that this person hasn't been terrible.
Bree, we've seen some very notable trials here in North Texas, but we haven't seen very many trials, Sean, where the judge said we're going to hold court on a Saturday, that we're going to do this 6 days a week. That was maybe unexpected or a surprise from a lot of people that Judge Roach said, no, we're going to do this on Saturday.
So here's the very interesting thing that I've learned about sort of how Collin County has decided to manage this case. And this is, I think, unusual, especially considering that there are many, many high-profile cases that are handled throughout this country and in North Texas that are not quite handled this way. But what I've learned just through my sources is that the entire courthouse was essentially shut down during the Karmelo Anthony trial. In other words, there were really no other jury trials. There were no other hearings. There was essentially very little court held, I guess maybe just emergency situations. And I think for that reason, because that was the decision that was made by the Collin County judges, that there had to be some measure of, we have to move this a little bit more quickly because we can't indefinitely shut down this courthouse, right? We're a gigantic county. There are many, many, court hearings that have to take place on any given day. And remember, the Collin County courthouse is a courthouse of general jurisdiction, which means that every court in that courthouse hears both criminal and civil cases. There are family law cases that are held there as well. And so you can't shut that down forever. And so I imagine that Judge Roach, in his decision to ask all of the other judges to comply with what he thought was going to be the safest way to manage a trial that created this amount of, sort of division within this community, he said, we can't just work 5 days. We have to work 6 days. We have to try to move this as quickly as possible. Everybody deserves a break. The jurors, most significantly, they need some time off to be able to process what they're hearing outside of just the evenings that they got to go home. But it was a tremendous shift in the way that business is done in Collin County. And so I do think
Let me
if
interrupt
we're going to
you.
do that,
Let me interrupt you,
oh,
Bree.
we have.
Let me interrupt you. The verdict is in. It is 35 years.
Oh my
Is the sentence,
gosh.
not under passion. 35-year sentence for Karmelo Anthony, eligible for parole after serving half of that time. So
Wow.
there
Damn.
is the sentence.
What's your reaction?
There's the sentence. Wow.
My reaction is I done seen brothers get sentenced like that without even unaliving people. My brother got sentenced to 40 years in prison and with a review in half in 20 and still fighting his case. And it's been damn near 18 years. But I don't wish that upon nobody.
Again, I'm coming from a unique perspective. I was a prosecutor. I have prosecuted people that have killed people, that have harmed children, that have harmed babies. I have defended people that have killed multiple people. I have a death penalty case that I'm a part of right now, and I will tell you. In my 17 years, I think these set of facts, a jury coming to the conclusion that 35 years in
35 years in a review in half the time. That's how old Austin was when he died. 17 and a half years. You're going to think about that for every day that he stayed alive, every day that you're going to have to think about it, and then come back and see if you eligible. Damn.
prison is an appropriate sentence is quite incredible. It's quite incredible. I'm slightly blown away. I will tell you that it's important that we always remember here in Texas that you have a range of punishment. The range of punishment for a murder conviction is anywhere from 5 years to 99 years or life. And regardless of the sentence that you receive, in the state of Texas, you are required to serve half of your sentence or 30 years, whichever is less. Mm-hmm. So in this particular instance, he's sentenced to 35 years. Before he becomes eligible for parole, he will have to serve half of that sentence. What is that, 16 and a half years, 17 and a half years?
Roughly 17 and a half.
Before.
Yeah. And that may very well have been the age of Austin MetCalf.
Yep.
When this happened in 2025.
I think that
17.
I think you're right about that, Sean.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'm actually surprised differently. I again felt like it was going to be longer. I just did, based on, I know Bill Worski was asking.
What he called for.
Yeah. He didn't give them a number. He didn't assign a number in his closing statements in the punishment phase, but he impressed on them that it should be lengthy, that it should be long, that we have to send a message of we're not going to tolerate senseless violence in our community. He talked to those jurors about them coming together as a community to do the right thing, to serve justice. He put on those jurors the idea that they were upholding the standard for the community. And so I thought it might be longer. I hope we get to hear from the jury foreman or one of the jurors at some point to know what they were thinking and what they went through in that moment. So I guess the word is now spreading to those outside of the courthouse.
It does look like people are looking somber. They're looking very, very astonished.
Is that his mother, parents?
Those are some
Wow.
folks
Are
we
leaving
seeing-
the courtroom.
How could they be smiling?
have no idea who those
No.
people are. I don't believe they're any active part of what we're experiencing here. This could very well be some media. Again, there are media from everywhere in McKinney for this.
Yes. I mean, it hit obviously the national news. And I just want to make one comment about one of the things that jurors are instructed to do as it relates to assessing punishment. Obviously, it's a standard prosecution argument in punishment to say, this is our community, sort of don't stand for senseless violence or whatever it is in our community. This is where we live and all that. Send a message to, this defendant and the community at large and all that kind of stuff. And that's a standard prosecution argument. But the other thing that a jury is also told is during those jury instructions, when they're being read to the jury, they are told that they cannot consider, they can understand the existence of parole law, but they cannot consider it as they contemplate an appropriate sentence. So in other words, it's interesting to me that it's 35 years and that half of that, which is what he would be required to serve before he's eligible for parole, is about 17 and a half years. And that is likely the age, right, that Mr. Metcalf was when he passed away. I wonder whether or not that jury, even though they were instructed, they may have taken that into consideration.
Of course.
I certainly think that's a possibility of the age piece. To me, it seems to be, I seem to recall he was that age, 17 for sure, and perhaps very close to 17 and a half. That's why we hope to hear from the jurors. There seems to be some commotion here outside. And we see several sheriff's department vehicles and a crowd there.
Trying to figure that out.
Are they reacting to this? Is someone speaking about this?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, wait a
apparently
minute.
Phones are up. Somebody must be
someone
speaking
is talking.
at this moment.
Who is it, though?
We can't see who that
It's
person
difficult to see.
is. These extraordinary moments that happen with these kinds of things as information comes forward. And so at this moment, what's happening, as you are the attorney, West, first tell us,
The entire
as
purpose.
the defense attorney, you're talking to your client and their family, or you're preparing to meet the media, or what? Go ahead, Clarice.
Yeah, we see that woman in pink. She's the one who's speaking, that they're listening to and recording. Okay.
Oh, and I will say that I've seen her. She's been at the court a number of days. She certainly was there when I was there. So I don't know if she is someone that was one of the first ones to come out after the verdict was read and is perhaps delivering some of the information. But yes, Sean, as it relates to where things are right now, this is a devastating blow to a defense team, right? This is probably not what they would have expected, certainly not what they were arguing for. And so this family and your client are, were hit with a huge sentence. And so you are spending time with them. They are your priority. His mom, his dad, and certainly Karmelo Anthony as your client. That is your priority. That is who you're talking to. You're also talking about what are the next steps, right? Because obviously punishment is imposed. He's serving he will begin serving his sentence right now. But at the same time, there are steps after this, right? We have to file a motion for new trial to make sure that if there's anything that we can capture during the course of this trial that was done wrong, we can preserve that error. We have to file our notice of appeal, because if there are things to appeal, we have a time frame under which we want the courts to know that that's what our intention is. And so you're having a discussion about what are our next steps, and you're obviously encouraging your client. And I've been in this position before. I've been doing defense work for a number of years. You're also encouraging your client not to give up hope, right? That there is hope still. They have to keep their head up, that this is not over, and that you have to keep pressing forward.
Okay, now put your prosecutor hat back on, because what are you saying now to the family of your victim?
So now what you're saying to your family of your victim is, this was a great verdict. This is justice. your son, sort of his life was meaningful to our community. They sent a message to say that this type of engagement or this type of interaction between young people is never allowed. And they sent a message. And I think that you're, sort of not celebrating with your victim's family, but you're certainly saying to them, that this was a good thing. And I would imagine that Austin Metcalf's family is, they're in the process of sort of thanking, the prosecution, the district attorney's office, for putting on a good case and getting a verdict that was so significant.
Bree, what about the jury? Where are they now? What could be happening to them right now? Who could be talking to them right now?
Generally, what you see is that once a jury reaches its verdict, they're obviously released from all of the rules, right? They're released. They can talk about the case openly now. They can talk to each other. And generally, you're going to have the judge that's going to go back and talk to them privately first, right? To say, okay, thank you for your service. You're released from everything. And then usually, and I can't speak specifically for Judge Roach, but usually the judges say, you are now free to talk to whomever you want. And that includes the lawyers. And sometimes the lawyers would like to come back and talk to you to ask you kind of what did you think? Why did you arrive at your decision? What were the things that that were highlighted for you? But the judge is also going to tell them that they don't have to talk to anyone. And so for the jurors that don't want to speak to anybody, which usually is a lot of them, right? They would be escorted. I know that there's like a sort of a bat cave thing that the jurors come through to make sure that they're safe as they're coming and going from court. So I would imagine that for those that don't want to talk to anybody, that's probably what they're doing. But usually you have a very brief conversation just with the judge. You can ask questions. You can get clarity on things, and then you're open.
At what point did video come into your mind? You got the message from your friend. You looked into the case. You see what wasn't being said. What made you think video?
Well, so it was just interesting to me that all of the statements that were being made in the media were, the witness statements. There was nothing to back up their statements. So I started thinking, what could back up their statements? And I was like, I couldn't figure that out. I was asleep actually in my bed, and I always say it was the voice of God that woke me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I sat up in the bed, and I remembered that Frisco ISD had an app that the games are played on. They actually broadcast the games from an app. So that morning, I reached out to that particular company, and they said, yeah, we broadcast the games, but you're wanting us to go back and look at something that's already occurred. We don't have that data anymore. You need to reach out to Frisco ISD. So that is what actually caused me to reach out to Frisco ISD. That company told me that the data would be held on Frisco ISD servers.
And so I based on the documentation that you sent me, and by the way, she sent me a lot of documentation. And when I say sent, she just didn't download it and upload it to an email. Like, she forwarded me the actual email. So I was able to see, who it was sent to, when it was sent, what was attached, and all of those things. So I know that there was quite a process to get this video based on what you sent me. And I tried my best to create that timeline, and we'll kind of get into that. But I do remember at one point around like May 1st, like the emails between you all were almost kind of like a couple emails that day. But we'll start from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So you called that company. They said that, this ain't something we got. We turned it over to Frisco ISD. What was your first step? Like, what was that communication like with them, and what was their response?
So the first thing I did was I was thinking, let me request a FOIA. Let me do a Freedom of Information Act request. Let me do a public request. But I said, let me call first before I do that, and let me ask them if do they have that data on their servers? Do they have backup servers? So I called. I don't remember the lady that I spoke with. I got past the secretary. And I told the secretary what I wanted, and she referred me to someone. And I spoke with the lady on the phone, and she said, well, that's absolutely not true. Whoever told you that, that's not true. We don't have that footage. We wouldn't keep that here. that will be kept with the other company that the company that has the app. And if they're saying they don't have it, then it doesn't exist. So I said, okay, fine. I just told her thank you, got off the phone, and then I submitted. I went to Frisco ISD, their website, and submitted a FOIA request.
So I did see that. Let me go just to give y'all around the dates of how early this was. So the incident took place on April 2nd, 2025. Based on what I remember seeing, your FOIA request to Frisco ISD was on 4/16/2025. So essentially, they told you that they wouldn't have had footage like that, but you knew that they had some sort of footage because of what the company had previously told you.
Right.
And once you made that FOIA request, they responded to you, and that was around like the 28th. And do you remember kind of what their initial response to you was when you just went ahead and made that FOIA request?
I think I'm not sure what they said. So much has transpired since then. But if I were to guess, I would say that they said that they couldn't show me the video or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, no, it's okay. I did take a little notes.
Okay, good.
So based on what I looked at in the email, they cited FERPA as the reason why
They couldn't show me.
they couldn't give you the request, and you immediately responded back like, y'all could redact this, I could pay, and you said that if they denied you, that you were basically going to file a complaint with the Attorney General, which I believe that you did because they offered you the opportunity to come and see the video,
Right.
but you wanted a copy, correct?
Right.
So initially you did that request under the FOIA or the PRR. And for those of you that don't know, do you mind telling people that may not know, just in simple terms, like what a FOIA request?
Yeah, so a FOIA request, FOIA stands for Freedom of Information Act. And that's an act that basically gives citizens the right to request information that is held publicly, that is held by the government, but that should be public. So any government entity that is funded publicly, if they have documents or anything like that, if you submit a FOIA request, they are required by law to release those documents to you.
Yes. And for those of you that don't know, if they give you pushback and they choose not to try to release that information, then people should basically do what it is that you did, which was you escalated it up to the Texas Office of
Attorney General.
Texas Office of Attorney General. Now, I did see the initial list of people that went, and I believe that it was out of order. I do remember seeing on that documentation that initially you went under the name of Susan McDowell, and I know that there was a lot of confusion as to if that was truly you and if you really did it. So
Yeah.
are you okay with confirming that you are Susan McDowell? I mean, I saw it, but for the people that didn't,
Hold up. Give me a second. Let's put a pin in there. So this is her walking down what she's seen in the video. And what you're gonna notice is everybody who's seen the video, the later they went to see the video, the more certain things were cut out, the time codes changed and so forth, which further proves prosecution misconduct and fake receipts. And when I say fake, doctor receipts, and the court allowed to push a narrative that they wanted to push. Okay. I'm trying to go ahead and scale to see if she's on this longer list, because obviously that's not even the complete list. I don't even know when the last updated list was released, because anybody still right now can go and see that information and request. But it's tainted. Sarah McDowell is the name that she went under. So I'm looking at the list right here to see if she's one of these 35 people that went between June the 9th and July the 17th, 2025. So I don't see her name on this list, which means that she went out there July 17, 2025, probably more than likely around the same time as this woman.
And let me explain why I use that alias. And by the way, the Constitution states that I have a right to alias. But let me explain why I use that alias. Sometimes, when I'm working cases, or there are cases that I think I'm going to work, and I pull documentation, and there's really nothing to work, right? Sometimes when I work cases like that, law enforcement officials will recognize my name if I use Tiffany Billions, and I get a lot of pushback, right? So when I initially submitted the FOIA request, I've learned to submit it under an alias, and then when they start responding to me, I'm comfortable with using my name.
And I did see that in that documentation, for any of you wondering, after she used that name, she did start to use her real name. And in the paperwork, I remember seeing Tiffany Billions, and then in like parentheses, it said, Susan McDowell. Now, one of the things that I did notice, and I was like, I'm going to ask her this, does the last name McDowell have any reference to Coming to America and the McDowells?
You know what? It does. It does. I didn't think anybody would catch that, but it does.
And you know what? I called it and I said, McDowell's, Susan McDowell's. And I was like, Susan McDowell's Coming to America. And it was actually Lisa McDowell's. Right. I said, look at her. Like, I caught on to that. See, y'all be paying attention. You got to pay attention. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, you kind of explained why you made the request under the alias. And so there was some back and forth. They didn't want to release it. They invited you to see the video. And I saw that you were like, no, I don't want to see the video. I want a copy.
Right.
What was kind of, I guess, do you mind sharing like maybe what your thoughts are based on what you saw on that video, or how it made you feel, or anything, just to give us an idea based on your perspective, maybe what your experience was, because it sounds like you certainly got to see a lot more than other people.
Let's put a pin in that.
Other people that were bearing witness to these proceedings will come out and say, I am not a part of Karmelo's family. I'm here in the community, and that's why I needed to be here. I've raised 6 black male sons in Collin County over the past 26 years. What I would say on behalf of Karmelo's family, they were praying before we went in. And so I know that they would want a message for peace and for prayer. I know they would not want people acting violently. I can tell you that. Their demeanor the entire time, these are very peaceful people. Karmelo was a very peaceful person. The mutual contact, and I don't know if he's 18, so I'm not going to say his name, so I'll say the mutual contact that invited him into the tent to get out of the rain. He got on the stand and tried to say, I don't really know the kid, I've only seen him 2 to 3 times. And the defense then all of a sudden brought up anywhere from 8 to 10 photos of different family events with the 2 of them together. And it wasn't some kid that I didn't know. But even with that, they allowed him to continue to testify and give weight to stories that were constantly changing. How do you claim you don't know someone that you're in the bedroom playing Guitar Hero, that you're sitting on the couch together,
35
that you're
years,
doing family events with, right? How do you all of a sudden claim you don't know that person? And so I'm heartbroken what this case has done to these children, that they paraded onto the stand with certain talking points.
Yeah.
A child that was friends of both Austin and Karmelo. This all around was heartbreaking, and it makes me wonder where we're going as a nation. So there's so much more that can be said from today going all the way back to last Monday. I had hope that Collin County was going to do this fairly when they started voir dire on Monday and Tuesday. I really did. I wanted to believe again. I wasn't even sure if Karmelo was guilty or innocent, because I wasn't team Karmelo or team Austin. I was team, I want the truth. I want facts, truth, evidence, law. I didn't know if he was innocent or guilty. I didn't know if the state and the judge was going to play this fair. I didn't know that until Saturday. On Saturday, I knew. where this was going to go. And I had to tell my son that was attending with me, he's like, maybe he can still get off because I don't care about the facts and the law. And they didn't care about the facts, law, and evidence.
So emotions are very high. People have very deep-rooted opinions.
Very strong opinions.
Yes, and they're not going to change on either side.
They're not.
People did in
These
kind
are
of
the
in an
kinds-
unrestricted way.
Yeah, I feel like I did get to see a bit more, but I can tell you that when I walked away from seeing that video, I was confused because it didn't match the narrative. I was, that part of you that wants to say, well, why would they lie? It's always that part, and you'll never understand why people misrepresent facts. Sometimes they just do. So when I clicked on that portion, when the PI clicked on that portion of the video, of course you see the tent, but you don't see all of the tent. There is like the top portion is cut out. I don't know how to really describe that. And then you do see from the right side of the screen individuals walking over to the area of the bleachers. And then at that point they kind of blend in when they get to the bleachers, and that point at that point it's a little convoluted, but you do see them show back up, and you see them surround someone in a gray sweatshirt. Now, prior to this, when you're just watching the video, you just see everybody just sitting there. It's like peaceful. It's calm. You see the raindrops. You see, you see a couple of people walking in front of the track or on the side of the track. Not very much going on, right? And it doesn't look like there's not a lot of room. Like under the tent, people are sitting and it's occupied. Once the individuals appeared to surround the person in the gray sweatshirt, I wasn't sure that was Karmelo, and neither was the PI. He pointed it out and he said, I think that's Karmelo. And I said, okay. And so we're watching. And the next thing I see is a lot of movement on that back row where Karmelo was sitting, just a lot of movement. And you can't see his sweatshirt anymore, but it's definitely a fight. It's definitely a fight on that back row. And then you see him emerge from a sea of black hoodies. You see him run up, upwards, off camera. And then it's like he just darts down diagonally. He gets to the last two steps of the bleachers, falls, looks behind him, and gets up and takes off running really, really quick. And as he falls, you see who I believe is Austin walk down the middle of the bleachers, and he's walking very staggeredly, almost like a Frankenstein walk. And he gets down to the bottom of the where the ground is, the asphalt, and he walks up to someone who's facing him, and he just falls on the ground. And that's what I saw.
And I know that kind of after that, eventually the paramedics show up. Looking at that video, because to me, there appeared to be like almost no sense of urgency. Would you say that is the same as what like you saw? And when I say sense of urgency, I mean like with the paramedics, because I felt like they were just like there. I remember just thinking like, okay, hurry up. Like, are we going to zip off and get to the hospital? Did you kind of see the same thing? Do you remember seeing kind of the same thing? Or
so I honestly I can't speak to that part, Janina, because I didn't see that part. Once I saw Austin fall to the ground, that it was like, okay, this is the video. Because I was just trying to confirm that this was the video. So I didn't stay long enough to watch the paramedics and all of that. I could have. I just didn't. I just didn't.
So after you saw this video, I'd imagine that no one like knew that there was the opportunity now to make the PIR request to go and see the video. How did others find out that this was there to go and see?
So, I'm not really on TikTok a lot, but I was scrolling through the lives, and I would hear consistently that this was a subject of interest. People were constantly speaking about Carmelo, and people were saying, "Well, we'll never know what happened until there's a trial. You guys aren't the jury. There is no video." I believe the witness statements. Well, the statement said, and the witness said, and everybody was just dependent upon the witness statements and what the jury is going to say. So I dipped off in one live, and I made a comment in the live, and I said, "There is a video." And it actually took off from there. They asked me to come up and prove that there was a video and all of that. So that's when all of the rigmarole started. Everybody was like, "She's lying. There's no video. She's a liar.
To talk
She's
to the attorneys. Sometimes we see that, but they might need a moment to process this whole thing themselves. I mean, we've only been in this trial for what, 8 days? So they've gone through a lot in the last 8 days.
17 years.
And
17.
they may come out later. I mean, I know there were people at the Collin County Courthouse when I was there today who were filming documentaries, and they'll probably have a lot of opportunities to talk about it in the future. Right now, it might just be a little too much.
We have a victim impact statement from the father, who was Austin Metcalf, a boy, a twin, a son, a friend, a leader, a true warrior. Since the first day he grabbed my finger, he had my heart with it. First fish to watch both my sons on the field at the same time was such a blessing. Amazing the impact you had in such a short time. All your teammates looked up to you. Your brother did you proud this year. Your mother was all in, started a scholarship in memory of Austin. I was proud of you when you found God and put him in your life. Your faith carried you to the gates of heaven, and we don't get to see you achieve your goals. We were robbed. To suffer such a loss is tragic. The public response sickens me. With a gag order, can't defend myself when people want to tear down my son's memory. That time is over. I said it from day one. This was never about race. Austin Metcalf's father, tonight. It's all about right and wrong. We are all humans. We all bleed the same color. You will face those consequences starting today.
It's a lot to take in. I would say for the jurors, they'll have to decompress and let this out some way, somehow. Trials like these can be emotionally stressful for the reporters who are in the courtroom for days, and you hear it all, and you're there between both plaintiff, the complainant's family, and the defendant, and you see it all, and you hear it all, and you take it in. And if you, we're talking a lot of talk, Clarice, about no cameras in the courtrooms, but this is reporting. This is this is how it was for years, and how it still is in most federal cases.
Right.
This is how it is. Document it. Tell me, and tell it in such a way that I can feel what's happening in that courtroom. That's what we've experienced this week and last week from Alex and Lori Brown, Amelia. That's what we've experienced. And so let's talk to Bree for a moment, Bree West for a moment. So this, as a 19-year-old defendant, do you hear what's happening to you at this moment? Do you hear the victim impact statements? Do they resonate with you at this moment?
I think that when I have young clients, and we get to this point in the process, they are sort of numb to what's going on. And I mean, is he hearing the victim impact statements ultimately, but is he processing what's being said to him? I don't think so. That's something that will come for him later. I know that he, undoubtedly feels the weight of not only kind of what has happened, but his conviction and his sentence, and sort of that's where you are. And I don't know that that's an inappropriate place to be. I think that there's a reason that victim impact statements are held after a verdict, and after a sentencing, because they're emotional, and they're meant to give the victim's family some amount of closure, for what oftentimes is a really stressful process of a trial, right? And so it should have no bearing on sort of the sentence and all of that kind of stuff. And so they happen at the very end. And by the time that a victim's family can get up and talk to a defendant to say, this is how what you did made me feel and has impacted our family, they've already been convicted and they've just heard their sentence. And so I think that while they hear it, the processing of sort of what Mr. Metcalf's family is going through, won't fully hit Karmelo Anthony, for days or weeks. I mean, this whole process that it's like a truck slamming into you, right? For everybody. And so you're hearing everything, but you're not processing things, I think, until, the weeks and months. And as you begin to see what your new reality is going to look like.
And Lori Brown in the courtroom is just reporting on what Mr. Metcalf is saying as he continues his victim impact statement. There is a version of me that exists before that phone call, before hearing words no father should hear. Broke heart, nervous system, faith in people. Grief is not sadness, it's rage. Trauma, replaying every detail until you are sick. Waking up every day to reality you can't believe is real. You failed your parents, yourself, and society. You don't belong in this community. My son's death made me exhausted emotionally, spiritually. A piece of me died with my son, but I'm expected to keep living.
And I think it's important to say, as we're talking about these victim impact statements are, as you say, it gives the family the opportunity to speak to the person who's committed this, but it's good for the victims' families to have this moment of release. Am I right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a very important part of criminal trials, because this is the absolute most traumatic, unbelievably difficult thing that this family will ever go through ever again in their entire lives. And there has to be a way to sort of put a period. Their grief is not going to go away. Their sadness is not going to go away, but there has to be a way to put a period at the end of this part of it. And the victim impact statement is designed to do that. It's an important part of the criminal justice process. It's very difficult for defendants. And interestingly, it's difficult for the lawyers, right, to sit there and listen to sort of how, sort of the impact that it's had on the victim's family. It's a very, very difficult experience to sit through in every conceivable way. But there has to be a way to put a period at the end of this part of the process. And that's what victim impact statements do, or at least are designed to do. And it sounds like, as you hear the outpouring from Austin Metcalf's mom and his dad and his aunt, it sounds like they're working really hard to put a period, at the end of this part, so that they can move on with sort of being in their grief and figuring out how to move forward with their lives. It's a very sad process. And the reality of the situation is, Karmelo Anthony, at the end of the day, he was sentenced to 35 years at 19 years old. That is a huge chunk of his life, and he will feel the impact of the decision that the Collin County jury made today for 35 years. That is a loss as well. And his family, although they don't obviously make victim impact statements, his family is feeling a tremendous loss as well.
And right now, Hunter Metcalf is on the stand. He is giving his victim impact statement, the twin brother of Austin. And Hunter Metcalf says, "Look me in the eye. I would really respect that. I've been trying to learn how to forgive. I've been choosing God, trying to understand why he had to go. Sorry. He took my brother, my best friend from this world. caused a lot of pain. And these are the opening remarks of Hunter.
Yeah.
And certainly you would expect that from a sibling, twin even more so. And the circumstances, Clarice,
And in his arms, he was right,
Right.
there.
I'm
That's
right
not
there with
true.
you
The
when
video
you
don't
died
show
a
that.
silent death.
Yes, yes.
Boy, they know how to cook
yeah.
up a narrative real quick.
Oh, we have Dion, who is outside of the
Outside the
parking lot.
courthouse.
Let's go to Dion now and see what she has to share with us about what she's seeing and hearing.
Yes, definitely. We are still standing out here in front of the courthouse where a good number of people have made the decision that they are going to remain here. If I had to guess, probably about 200 people, maybe more, kind of scattered throughout this parking lot. Most of those behind me here, close to the steps of the courthouse. It is, again, just a pendulum swinging back and forth when describing the mood here and the tension that is moving through. It is not clear if everyone out here has been made aware of that sentencing verdict, the 35-year sentence. And I say that because a gentleman walked up to me just a little bit ago and he says, hey, my daughter is texting me and she's saying that he got 35 years. Do you know if that's the case? And I definitely affirm that for him. But just a sign here that not everyone out here is aware of the sentence. We still have a good presence of law enforcement. We've got people that are close to where the perimeter is in front of the courthouse. You've got some people that were still kind of talking on microphones. There was one man delivering the gospel, was basically telling everyone out here to turn to the Word of God. He will take care of your pain. He will take care of your distress. So just a mix of happenings here. You've got different groups that are engaged. Some are interacting. Many of the interactions seem somewhat, friendly, cordial, but we've seen them touch off and become, contentious as well. At one point, there was just a traveling little interaction where there was a large group of people around two folks who were walking and having a confrontation, and law enforcement close by them, just making sure that situation remained civil or as civil as possible. But again, looks like, anywhere from 200 to 300 people that remain here. Folks have just made the decision for whatever reason that they want to be here and they're going to remain here for a while. Of course, there are those who are frustrated, and then there are others who feel like the sentence was not harsh enough. Some have, mentioned that it is definitely justice. Others are frustrated, but overall, you can find folks who say this is a very sad situation on all fronts for the victim's family, for Karmelo Anthony's family, and it just remains that we are paying very close attention to what's going on out here because the tension is moving back and forth, back and forth. For now, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Dan, thanks for giving us that update. I'd like to bring Bree back in. Bree, Lori Brown, who's in the courtroom, just put out that the defendant, Karmelo Anthony, was taken away. So tell us what those steps are going to be for Karmelo Anthony now that he's been taken out of the courtroom.
So we'll remember that if you're on bond and you're facing a criminal prosecution, and ultimately at the end of that criminal prosecution, you're found guilty. So we're before the punishment phase. When that happens, your bond, that was allowing you to be, free and be home and all of that, that is immediately held insufficient, which means that you are then taken into custody at that moment. So Karmelo Anthony, when that verdict of guilty was read, his bond was held insufficient and he was immediately taken into custody at that time. Now, obviously, we went directly into sentencing, right? So it wasn't as if he had to then go check into the jail and then come back tomorrow. Everything has happened all at one time. And so now his next steps are that he actually has to be processed into the Collin County Jail. He will just sort of, if you've ever been arrested before, you get fingerprinted and photographed and all of these kinds of things. All of that is going to happen for Karmelo Anthony now. He's going to be transported by the sheriff's department to the Collin County Jail. He will be processed through the intake department. He will be changed out and dressed out into jail clothes. And as of today, he will begin his sentence of 35 years.
And that's happening now, and
Where's
then he
all
will
these
be
people?
at the Collin County Jail until
Is that the mother?
Texas Department of Corrections brings
That's the
bus
mother.
through
That's right. So
North Texas,
yes,
and make their pickups.
that's exactly right. So most people will process through Huntsville, which is sort of like a processing transfer type of facility. So he will get picked up from the Collin County Jail along with any other defendant that's been sentenced to prison. They come, once or twice a week. It depends on how busy your jail is. In Dallas County, they come pretty often. And they will pick up all of the inmates that have been sentenced to TDC or sentenced to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division. They will be taken to their processing center, which is generally Huntsville. It's not always Huntsville, but generally Huntsville, where you're going to get processed, you're going to get classified. There's going to be a determination of sort of what level of, confinement that you need. Karmelo Anthony was kind of high profile, so he may be in protective custody while he's in the Collin County Jail, and that may follow him when he goes to TDC for some period of time. He's very young, so that has to be taken into consideration. So there's a lot of factors that the not only the jail, but TDC has to factor in, because they actually have a responsibility, as they should, to ensure that while Karmelo Anthony is in their custody, whether it be the Collin County Jail or the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, that Karmelo Anthony remains safe. And so they have to classify him to ensure that they're putting him in the most appropriate place where he can remain safe as he begins to serve his sentence. Now, again, even though all of that's going to happen, it's important that everybody understand that there's a bunch of other things that are happening in the background as it relates to, you have to file your notice of appeal. You have to file your notice for new trial. You have a bunch of stuff that you have to do that are happening in the background, even though Karmelo Anthony's trajectory is that he's headed straight to TDC. He will also, his lawyers will also take care of a whole bunch of other things that are protecting his rights as he goes through the system.
And we don't know.
Y'all finna get drunk as hell and get on my husband's nerve.
That's the first thing you could think about. This is embarrassing.
Oh, hey, I could true love.
I'm good.
How you doing? Welcome to the panel.
What's up, Steve?
Oh, wait.
And there's just one more victim impact statement from Hunter, just concluding. He says, he took my brother, my best friend from this world, caused a lot of pain, took who was supposed to be the uncle to my kids. Now I want everything taken from you. You let the devil take over. You still have air while my brother is 6 feet under. My brother's legacy will live on. You are a shallow man for what you did. You took everything from me. I wake up every morning. His door.
Hunter, you ain't got no bitch. You ain't got nobody pregnant. You ain't got no motherfucking kids. You just gaslighting.
Still shut. My mom crying herself to sleep. Dad can't talk to his son anymore.
And I think that you can clearly see, right, that oftentimes in these victim impact statements, because they're designed to kind of put a period at the end of this process.
We're taking a look at the Anthony family leaving the courthouse right now.
We didn't hear what she was saying earlier, but she was outside the car.
And making a heart sign, with her two hands. Okay, Bree, please continue.
Well, just only, sort of that was a really interesting thing to see. It did sound like, it did. And I just want to take a moment to address what was just on the screen.
Yes.
She was making a heart sign with her hands, it appeared, but then it sounded like she was yelling racist and bias.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that was on purpose or did it get miscommunicated.
Let's see.
People out here love you. People out here love you.
You would expect some bitterness from a parent as well. It seems to be, if that's what we were hearing. Disappointment, whatever you wish to call it, over the decision that's been rendered.
Yeah. And I think that, again, because victim impact statements are meant to put a period, I think that what you often hear is the anger. I'm so angry at you, defendant, for what you did to me, what you did to my family, what you did to my loved one, and really just sort of expressing, sort of that I think that even Mr. Metcalf's father said it, grief is rage, right? And so I think that what they're experiencing is this rage and the ability to finally sort of let it out to the person that they feel is responsible for what has happened to them. And so I think that again, the process is about trying to put a period at the end of this. And certainly for the Metcalf family, perhaps being able to say some of those very, very difficult things will help them do that. And this family can move forward, while Karmelo Anthony's family will continue, the process of appeals and the very natural process. It is extremely natural and very important to continue the criminal justice process after a sentence. It is important to appeal. It is important to preserve your rights. It has nothing to do with anything other than this is a part of the legal process. It happens in every case, and this case should be no different.
And Lori Brown, our reporter, is saying she's going to the news conference. So we were wondering, Sean, if there was going to be a news conference, if both lawyers or the defense or the prosecution or both were going to talk tonight. And so Lori, our reporter, is saying she is getting ready to go to that news conference.
Yes, so not uncommon. You put the microphones there on the stand, and one comes out. Usually the team that has lost, if you will, come out first and speak, and the others wait. In this case, the prosecution would wait and likely wait and come out. I'm speaking about what happens normally at Dallas County, how it works down there.
Lori's saying that the Metcalfs will be at the news conference.
Oh,
that the
Metcalfs will be at the news conference.
The family will be at the news conference,
Okay.
yes.
And again.
So we'll be bringing that to you.
Just saw the family of Karmelo Anthony leaving. And again, you would understand that, not wanting to stand there and answer questions tonight from the media.
And I think it's pretty typical, Sean, in your experience, I don't know if you'd agree, or even you, Clarice, that the victim's family in a murder prosecution often stands with the criminal, with the DA's office, with the prosecutors that prosecuted the case.
Yes.
I feel like I've seen that as a very common practice, even in Dallas County.
Yes, because when you were a prosecutor, you held the hand of those families that you represented, and you came alongside and you learned their story, and their loved one became your loved one as you represented them. And so, prosecutors are counselors, and I don't mean legal counselors. They're emotional counselors for the families of the victims that they're fighting for. And that's part of it. And you know what? Nothing in life is as real as these moments are. There is nothing more emotionally real than these moments, from the untimely death of a loved one by violence to the dispensation of that case through a trial. All of the emotion, the anxiety, the tears, the fighting for a long penalty or fighting for forgiveness and freedom. Nothing in life compares to the realness of this moment.
So true. Do we still have Allison with us? Allison, I'm wondering, in your experience, have you found that jury members want to reach out to the families that are involved and talk to them or share something with them or just commiserate with them?
I have seen that before. And, sometimes they wait to see the family and they go and give them encouragement. I've actually seen jurors who would give encouragement to both parties when they were there. But, given the accusations of bias in this particular case, they may be a little more reluctant to do it because they don't want to be accused of delivering a biased verdict. So I don't know if it's something that would be meaningful to them personally. They may go ahead and do it, and they may try to reach out to them after the trial as well. I have seen that.
For people who haven't served on a jury, talk about how draining that can be, how important it is, what they're hearing, what they need to process, how important it is to be a member of a jury, and why we need that.
Oh, it's the crux of our justice system. I mean, I personally have never gotten to serve on a jury. I would have loved to have done that. But I believe in the jury system. I have worked on, hundreds and hundreds of trials. And as I mentioned earlier last week, I believe that the jury gets it right most of the time. If they're allowed to hear the appropriate evidence and consider it, I still believe our jury system works. I mean, we've had some, ups and downs with COVID and that process, but I believe our jury system is alive and well. And, Karmelo Anthony does have access to the appeal process. That will be automatic. Some of the concerns that people have expressed will certainly be expressed through that process, part of our justice process, but I very much believe in it. And as far as the jurors go, this experience is very unusual for a juror because, first of all, courtroom communication is extremely unusual. I mean, if you think about it, you don't have many conversations with people where you just have to sit there and hope they say something that answers a question you have, or
Is that my system keeps like it's rebooting or something? That strange noise. Where is it coming from? I wonder if Charleston White has the video. Of course, Charleston White has the video.
Allows you to move forward in your thought process about something. You literally just have to sit there and listen. Physically, you have to show up usually pretty early. You have to go sit in on a chair that hopefully has some padding on it for, in this case, 9 to 6.
I think it's their video.
So it can be physically uncomfortable. I've seen people with, hip.
Yes, it's their feed.
Complete different analysis. And I'm hoping that this
9 to.
Yeah, that video is tripping. Is that the grandmother?
Keep your head up.
We don't know exactly who that person is. We're being told that some of the family of Anthony. We don't know who they are. But we heard what they were saying, racist, biased, as they were referencing what has just happened with the trial and the sentencing. And of course, remember that family, the Anthony family, if in fact they are family members, that family received a torrent of hatred when this first happened. And then same as the father of Austin Metcalf, as he talked about people saying things about our family.
Oh, that's inside the court.
Because of a gag order, we couldn't say anything back. This is what I mean about under the surface, bubbling to the top, and we're quick to throw the C4 of racism. But that's what has happened in this case.
Right now, we're looking inside the courtroom, and we're waiting for the news conference. We're going to hear from the lawyers, and we're told that the Metcalf family members are there. So we're going to bring that to you as well as soon as that happens.
You are looking at the elected district attorney there for Collin County.
And Jeff, they're all buddy in the courtroom. Now you want to show the courtroom? You should have showed it from the start so we can see what happened. Look at Jeff. They laughing and all. They going straight to a clean rally.
Better if I'm kind of facing.
Looks like this may be starting very soon.
All this shit was playing. Like, look at it.
Hunter. Y'all can be together, or one can be on the other side of me. Just so you're both more in the center of the picture, and then team.
Elected DA.
Will you guys come
Hunter,
on?
to his left.
And Wes, if
Mother,
you're comfortable
Megan.
with the investigators in here, if you're comfortable with them joining us? Yeah.
It's okay with me. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You guys were all part of the success.
They were.
The whole prosecutorial team,
Team effort.
investigators, clerks, they're all joining, it seems. This is what Bree was referring to earlier about the prosecution and the family
I was hoping not have to use my glasses.
bonding through the process. At the moment, I don't see Bill Worski. Let's see, where's Bill? Don't see him at the moment.
Good. All right. Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good evening. I'm Greg Willis, Collin County District Attorney. Today, justice was served. A year ago, when this senseless murder unfolded, I said that it had struck a deep nerve in Collin County and far beyond. I asked our community to ignore all the noise and instead be level-headed and patient as the process worked. And today, the process delivered accountability. We are grateful to this jury, and we are grateful that the good citizens of Collin County had an opportunity to weigh in on this case. I'm proud of the exceptional work of Bill Worski and our team of prosecutors, DA investigators, and victim advocates, and all the good and outstanding men and women of the Collin County District Attorney's Office. We thank all the parents and their brave kids who did the right thing. Despite the trauma of witnessing the senseless murder at a school track meet, they cooperated fully and testified truthfully. Their courage was essential to securing justice in this case. I'm especially honored to be joined here today by Jeff and Megan MetCalf and their son Hunter. Their strength and grace through this has been their strength and grace throughout this unimaginable journey has been inspiring. They won't be taking questions at this time, but their presence here speaks volumes about their commitment to seeking justice for Austin. I want to thank Judge Rhodes for presiding over this trial with fairness and efficiency. I want to thank Frisco PD for their investigation. I want to thank the Collin County Sheriff's Office led by Sheriff Skinner for providing the security for the courthouse. I want to thank all law enforcement throughout the county for making this a safe trial for everyone. This verdict sends a clear message. Violence like this won't be tolerated in our Collin County community, and we remain committed to protecting our schools and standing with victims and their families. Thank you. Okay, that's it. All right.
Okay.
Take care, sir. Thank you, sir. Cool.
As always. The District Attorney Greg Willis saying today justice was served in Collin County. Thanking everyone who was involved in this trial, expressing gratitude as well to the jury. And we saw Jeff and Megan and Hunter, MetCalf Hunter, the twin brother, who had his brother die in his arms. They did not take questions, but they wanted to stand there to represent Austin Metcalf.
And we did not hear from First Assistant Bill Worski,
No.
who masterfully executed his prosecutorial plan over these last days. We did not hear from him. I think we wanted to hear from him. I certainly did. Wanted to hear from him tonight, and we did not hear from him. Or the family, outside of their victim impact statements, they did not speak at this moment.
But those statements spoke volumes.
Yes, and loud.
When they did speak. Leaving the courtroom, and
it's like now you got cameras. Like you should have had cameras the whole time. That's how I know this is a fucking setup.
Already, I would think, unless they're in the defense room, if you will. There's a workroom, So in the Collin County Courthouse, when you enter the first set of double doors, to either side, left and right, there are rooms. One is the prosecution workroom, one is the defense workroom. And then you come right out of those doors and you can enter right into the court. They could be in the workroom.
Okay.
With their clients or without. There you see, talking to, with his head turned to us, there's Steve Stoller, Clarice, there talking to Greg Willis.
Oh, yes. Right. Okay, Steve
Yeah.
just turned around.
There he is.
Used to be a reporter here at Fox 4, and he's retired. He was the PIO for the city of Plano. Retired, moved to Florida.
And they brought him back
because of this trial. Yeah.
So we're glad to see Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive us for having that moment, but Steve Stoller, we've worked together many years ago.
Yes, we did. Well, wondering, does it look like we are going to hear from the defense?
I would say it does
not
at this moment. I would say it doesn't. Yeah, let's bring in. You want to talk to Clarice?
Bree.
Okay, let's bring in Bree for a minute because I don't think that there was anything that we heard from the district attorney that surprised us tonight, though he reminded us what he told us a year ago. When this first happened, he said, I told everyone to be patient, watch the process work, and today, quote, the process delivered accountability. That's what we heard from him today. Talk about that, Bree West.
And I think that, thank you, Sean. I think that that's exactly what you would expect to hear from a district attorney, right? Over the fact that this case sort of started a year ago and we're already here, not only at verdict, but punishment. I mean, I will say that in the grand scheme of things on a murder case, that's kind of lightning speed, right? I think that all of us have.
The people have to watch their children, you know? It doesn't take away from what y'all are saying. Like, I don't disagree with that.
I mean, you're trying to put blame, and the blame.
No, I'm just starting it. No, it's not even blame. I'm just giving everybody accountability, friend. Like, there's accountability for.
That this is Texas. Texas is a crackhead state, literally, in that regard. If there had been a state that Karmelo had a chance to get off scot-free, it would have been Texas. Texas is the state of the affluenza kid. Do y'all remember who that is? Speaking of white news, do y'all remember the kid that literally got off from murder, death, killing people when he was drunk because they said that he was, quote unquote, too privileged to understand the implications of what he was doing?
I thought that was a rape case, the affluenza case.
No, that was not a rape case. That was the kid that was wealthy as shit. And you can look it up. I put it in the chat. He literally got off. Ethan Couch, he was dubbed the affluenza teen, Texas man who gained national notoriety in 2013 for a fatal drunk driving crash. He killed 4 people, injured several others while driving with the blood alcohol limit 3 times the legal limit. And he got off, quote unquote, because his defense argued that he suffered from affluenza, a condition where a wealthy, privileged upbringing prevents a person from understanding the consequences of their actions. That is this Texas. This Texas. So it has nothing to do with white people getting away with shit. Because what we fail to understand as Black people is that white people get away with shit all the time against other white people. It's still them getting away with shit. It's an example of the system working for them, even when they are fucking drunk and murder, death, kill 4 damn people because their family got $5 million. That is my point. This was an upper income child from a city where 70% of the residents have their degrees, their bachelor's degrees. The median income is almost $150,000 in Frisco. Hell, they could have run with the affluenza defense in that case. Karmelo was no different than that other kid. So we didn't make this about race.
No,
they made it about race. That's what I'm saying.
You're making a point.
We didn't do this though. We didn't make it about race. They did it.
You're making a point that I did not make because it was racially focused before it even went to trial. Let's talk about that.
Exactly.
Like, come on now. And I don't need
Another thing that I just want to say then, if he did have money, you made a great point. I love that. If he had money, he could have got a great lawyer and had things together, and maybe this would have went another route. And I'm not trying. Hey, listen, I know that y'all sensitive to what I'm saying, but that does not mean that you need to interrupt. It's fine. It's okay. He went to jail. There's nothing that you can do about it. Period.
Ooh, that's such a disgusting statement to
Yeah,
say.
no, I
That's black
agree.
people that want to see other black people lose.
No, he went to.
I am still allowed to say what I want to say, and if
Oh
y'all
my
was trying
God, not you glad that he in jail. You a whole nigga talking about you glad that he in
stop
jail.
interrupting me, please, and
You a whole man with
you're not even
tattoos
understanding what I'm saying to be able to
and
have the
rings and
conversation.
necklaces
So hello, let me finish. I let everybody else finish. I waited my turn.
You just got here, Ian.
No, I left 5 times and came back because I could not speak.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm not saying, and I just want to be clear, I do not believe that he should get 35 years, but I do believe that in this situation, that this could have been handled a different way if it wasn't so racially focused. I believe that the same emotions that we have with people on stage right now, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, is the same emotions that they had with his team and not being able to do the right thing. How did we allow his lawyers to not vet his lawyers enough to understand that they were going to be in this position where they were going to get him more in trouble? And that's what I'm saying. A lot of the times as Black people, our emotions put us in stupid situations because we quickly, and I'm not saying it, listen, I agree at this point. There was some racist stuff that happened on at the top because we know how Texas work. We know how white people work. We know how that happens. But I'm saying that sometimes we need to pull that shit back and we need to say, hey, listen, now that I know that all these judges know each other, that there's an issue and that they probably will do some racial shit, let's get him some lawyers. And he had the money to be able to do it because there were GoFundMes that were put out there to be able to help them be in the right position. But obviously, it wasn't used correctly. And one thing that I do not like is that we have all of these, talented 55 Negroes who can motherfucking have dissertations on Clubhouse. But my whole thing was, where was your energy to advise this family to make sure that they had the right position? You could have did it. We all could have did it. Okay. If we had all of this damn knowledge about these lawyers and things like that too. We should have knew how this was going to happen. And back to what you said, Reformed. What the racial point that I have is that when you have people online, activists, jumping into situations instead of waiting and handle things behind the scenes. One thing we'll say about a lot of these white people, okay, that we like to compare him to, is that they will make sure that this is more quiet because the more attention it gets, guess what happened? Judges have to start proving points. They have to start putting themselves in positions where it's like, I have to explain, if this is all public media, why I made that decision. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I'll just land here and say I disagree. This is also the country where George Zimmerman got off for literally getting out of his truck and killing Trayvon Martin because he deemed him a threat. This is that stand your ground. That's why I'm saying I can be emotional about it, but I can also look at the stats. And I'm going to repeat this again. If there was any state where he should have gotten off, it should have been Texas based on the law. I'm not bringing race into it. I don't think race should have been brought into it because what we can acknowledge, and if you don't acknowledge this, guess you're just delusional or caping from massa. Had that been a white boy and the roles were flipped and there were two big 6 foot tall country fed twins that put hands on him, right? First of all, we've all been in track. I know y'all have already relitigated this, but let me just repeat it for the people in the back. For those of us who were athletes, you go under other tents. Centennial did not have a tent. That is the school that Karmelo was there. Another student invited him to sit. Karmelo was sitting down, minding his upper middle class, affluent Black business. And I'm going to keep saying that was an upper middle class, affluent child. He was not about that life. He was not. The officer testified that the pocket knife was not illegal in the state of Texas or in a stadium. It was a district event. TC said this word the other day. It was prohibited, but he was not committing a crime by having it. This was a good kid. It had nothing to do with it. And we know what would have happened had Karmelo been white and those kids been black. We already know what would have happened.
Exactly.
He would have gotten off because Texas
It wouldn't even be mainstream
says,
news.
stand your ground. He was afraid and he stood his ground. So I'm not buying that. And yes, we have the right as black people. I have the right as a black mom of 3 black boys. I have the fucking right to say this could have been my goddamn kid. Cause you know what? And I'm just gonna say this on land. My middle child, he would not back the fuck down. He would not. You trying to tell me to move? Do you know that Austin brought his big ass from up the way to basically try to remove him? And I'm just gonna say that as a parent. Karmelo is going to jail, but that other child is dead because he didn't keep his damn hands to himself. He is dead. He is not coming back. He lost his life.
Yourself.
Exactly. So we're
Your
talking
fucking
about
hands to
Karmelo, but that
yourself.
child is
You
gone
didn't have
and
the
never
right
coming
to
back
remove him.
because he didn't keep his damn hands to himself. So let's just
He could
keep
have went
that
and
in
got
mind,
the
shall we?
coach and had him
Hey, Rick Farm, can I say something?
Wait, no,
It's
it's on.
actually my turn
I'm
to
No,
done.
speak.
I'm
I'm
sorry. My
done.
bad. My bad.
It's
I'm
on.
sorry.
It's on me, and then Lee, you can go.
You a fucking liar.
So pseudo, I almost completely agree with you 100%. I want to say this respectfully. I think that to say that it shouldn't be about race, especially if you know the history of this country, I believe that that is very naive and ignorant. The reality of the country we live in is that everything is about race. That's just the truth, and that's history. History. Just go back and read it. I don't want to argue that. Aside from that, has already been sentenced, so there's nothing we can do about that. But I also want to just give some perspective in saying I live in a state, I'm from Massachusetts. I live in a state where you can be brutalized to the end of a vegetable for wearing the wrong jersey at a hockey game. There are some violent white Neanderthals in my city who will not give you the choice but to defend your life if the Bruins lose. So if you don't get up out of there with that opposing team jersey on before the game is over and we take that L, your life is at risk. Like you might have to do something to somebody if you want to make it back home to your kids. So imagine being a young man facing that type of aggression, hostility, violence from 2 big white boys. I also had learned that those boys were trained in jujitsu since children, that there was violence in the home. There's a lot of aggression and rage with those boys. And so to be Karmelo's size and to be faced with that is scary. And his fight or flight response took over and he did what he had to do so that he is not the one dead, because anything could have happened to him.
See, that's the bullshit I'm talking about. Like when people's like, he's scared. It's like
I'm sorry. I'm next, babe. Thank you.
Wait, hold on. I ain't never seen a group of people that I was scared of.
How do you say hold on and it's not your turn to speak? You hold on.
All right. Well,
I'm
moderate respectfully.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it again. The fact that Black people want to take out race from issues like this is crazy to me. The system is literally designed for Black people to fail. It is made off of our backs for us to fail. Nothing that Karmelo could have done, whether he was right or he was wrong, whether that the boys initially didn't get into it and it wasn't about a race thing because he was Black and he was white. The system was always going to be stacked against Karmelo. We have seen it time and time again. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, I think his name was Ahmaud Arbery, Trayvon Martin. Like
Ahmaud
it's
Arbery won his case. George
Tamir
Floyd
Rice.
won his great case. What are you talking about? They're dead, but the prosecution was successful in getting conviction offenses.
But how long did they have to fight? It wasn't as quick as this case was. This was quick and swift. They had to fight for the arm. Breonna Taylor. That wasn't even originally charged.
Yeah, it
for
never should
killing
have
her.
happened to begin with. I get what you're saying, sis. It never should have happened to begin with.
Like, I mean, so again, the trying to make it seem like Black people are racially obsessed. That is not it. They have been racially obsessed with us since the beginning of fucking time. Stop trying to erase that and trying to justify, oh, racial. Why was it all white jurors? Please tell me that. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know if you don't think that race played a part in them having all white jurors, then what the fuck are we talking about? What are we talking about?
I think
It's
y'all kind
gonna
of sorry. I think y'all
it's
kind of go ahead.
it wasn't an all white jury. It's gonna be our people that erase our own fucking history and damn us against each other. Because it's no that I hear these black men and I see some black women in the comments saying it's the most craziest shit. That's it. I'm not saying. Do y'all feel like what he did was wrong? Do y'all feel like what Carmelo did was
No,
wrong?
I don't feel
No,
that
if
way.
it's
Can I get
me
in there
or
real quick?
you, bitch, you're out of
That
here.
nigga was dead
Fuck out of
wrong.
here. You're out of
See,
here.
so I
I'm going
think
home.
that
So can I get
I
in there
think
real
that
quick?
I'm
outside of
going
the
home or I'm
perspective,
going to jail.
I don't know,
Somebody,
I don't know where a lot of y'all grew up because I'm not gonna go down the stage and ask each individual person. But I have childhood friends that are sitting in a pen right now, murder cases, 20 years, 30 years. I watched them, gone. Literally in my hometown, I watched two boys that I grew up with. They just got murdered 2 weeks ago, gone, over nothing, over absolute nothing. And I'm hearing like a contradiction of understanding like, and it's not just what who was that was just, it's not just what Tori was just saying, but just like as we progress in the conversation of letting the reality and the weight of this is a little boy, he about to go to prison. Yes, this can be appealed. That's a process. Yes, he could potentially be paroled after doing so much time, but this still occurred. And we feel like it's unfair. One thing my two very pro-Black parents always taught me and my brothers was that life was unfair for us. They always told us that life is going to be unfair for you. So I never lived and existed in this oblivious state, this utopic state that people are not going to discriminate on me because I'm nice or I'm kind or I'm an articulate Black, that I somehow will be able to achieve higher than racism. Like I never became that oblivious to it, regardless of what environment I'm able to place myself in through my accolades. I'm still Black first, regardless of anything. I cannot escape that, especially if I'm living in America. Everything, like Tori just said, is built up against me. So with that level of understanding, everything has to be thought in strategy. You have to move strategically, especially for a Black person, not like him because he didn't grow up in the hood. But for the Black people that do grow up in the hood, you understand that you have to think critically at all fucking times, because if you do not think critically, it's very likely that you will not make it home, either through your peers or through the police. You understand that every decision that you choose to make has to be a thoughtful one. If you didn't grow up in those environments, you're not going to know what the fuck I'm talking about. I hate when people act obtuse, but again, some of you live in this utopic, euphoria, ditzy land where you're not even paying attention to the redistricting of Texas that's happening under the Trump administration, the big, beautiful fucking bill. Like, do you know the state of the country that you're existing in right now and what they're trying to do in the Bible Belt? Like, are you aware of any of those things and how this is impacting how the world perceives us, what position they're trying to put Black people in? So understanding all of these cases prior to this one right now, Karmelo Anthony, that we're mentioning, understand all the times where Black people did not receive justice at all. Why are we acting surprised? Even if he was right or if he was wrong, this is America. I'm not surprised. I knew from the moment that it happened, even if he was right, they would find a way for him to be wrong. This is America, and he is a little Black boy, and he murdered a white one. And if you think that race didn't matter, then I don't know. Good luck to you.
So this is my
Can I
problem with
can
the
I get in
room.
there
Hold
real
on,
quick?
listen,
Hold
listen,
on,
listen.
hold on. Let Reform disagree. Then T.
Well, I do
No,
want to disagree.
the only thing I was gonna say is right. I'm always going to be surprised because that is how I hold them accountable. So, yes, I'm going to be surprised. I'm going to call them out because I'm never going to accept it. My ancestors didn't accept it, and I was taught not to accept it. I am going to fight against it. I am, with every last breath that I have. I'm going to fight against it for people that can't fight because maybe they don't have the resources or they don't have a mouthpiece, because we refuse to live in fear because that's what the fuck they want. And that is never going to happen. right? Black people, say amen. Fuck them. Amen. Fuck them.
Amen. Because
You,
I'm
you
gonna live in fear.
exactly right. We're not going to live in fear. You're not going to be able to subjugate us. We are very grateful for our ancestors, but this is not 1950. This is not right after slavery, and we have resources, and we are going to utilize them. And I, for one, I love you, Butterfly, but I am tired. Let me just, y'all just gonna hear me say this. I am fucking tired of Black people being told that we have to conduct ourselves in a certain manner. Because you just said this is America, so fuck it. I see why the YNs don't give a fuck. You know why? Because we have told them this bullshit. You just have to hold your head up high. You just have to conduct yourself in a certain way, and the white people gonna leave you alone. Well, what the fuck have we learned? You can have the money. You can be in the affluent neighborhood. You can live better than them. Hell, did you see his parents all up on there looking like they came out of the goddamn trailer park and shit? Carmelo came from a 2-family, making money, living a $900,000 fucking house. And did you see how the other family lived? But guess what? It wasn't fucking enough. We have to be able to survive, to exist, to be fucking human. I can assure you, a 17-year-old boy, a 17-year-old boy is not going to think about a fucking MLK speech when he look at people that he think are about to beat his ass. We get this judgment from fucking white people all the time. Do we have to get it from niggas? Do we have to fucking get police from niggas all the fucking time? We get it. Do you know how long we have been told that shit? Pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Put your head up. Hold your head up high. Give them a firm handshake. Fuck that. We are tired. Leave us the fuck alone. I'm done.
Amen. Leave us the fuck alone.
This, you'll notice that. Hold on 1 second, bro. So you'll notice that the last two speakers, they basically recalled a sentiment in the community that I think goes back far too long. And I think it's a self-limiting belief system, unfortunately. It's a self-limiting belief system that's been reinforced generation after generation, decade after decade, storyline after storyline. And I think we need to come to the realization that a lot of this stuff, it's just a cognitive bias that we have, that we are constantly being taken advantage of, and that we are constantly on the receiving end of injustice under every scenario, right? And that's confirmation bias. And I think the best way to deal with confirmation bias is to look at things agnostic from your perspective and just compare apples to apples. Now, I agree with you. I don't think Carmelo Anthony got a fair trial. 100%. Well, no, let me take that back. I don't think he got a fair representation. I don't think he got a fair defense. But if you look at the job of the court system and the adversarial administration of justice that we have in this country, and you apply that to this case, the prosecution did exactly what it was supposed to do. The prosecution's job is not to give the defense any opportunities to make any progress. They're supposed to take as much away from the defense as possible. Their job is to get a conviction, and their job is to use the rules, the laws, the existing policies on the books to do just that. This was not a scenario in which Carmelo Anthony was deprived of a fair trial. He was not deprived of being able to face his accusers. When he got originally arrested, he was given bond, and he was allowed to be released on bond. He was given all the time he needed to prep. This is not a scenario in which the American criminal justice system took advantage. Hold on, bro. Took advantage of Carmelo Anthony. Now, there are instances in which that happens. But this constant refrain of this limiting belief system that we have as Black Americans, that we can never get ahead, and this is going to be reinforced by this confirmation bias. Because look, see, this is an example. He shouldn't have got 35 years. He should have got manslaughter. Well, who would have gave him manslaughter? The jury would have gave him manslaughter. So you're telling me that the jury didn't give him fair consideration after the facts that were presented to them? And they said, no, we're going to convict him of murder. Hold on. We're going to convict him of murder because he's Black? No, I don't believe that.
Yes,
I don't believe.
Of
I don't
course
believe
you
that
don't. You
bullshit. You
one
know
of
what I think
them.
actually
You one of
happened?
those
impeachment.
blacks.
Hold on. No.
You
Mute up,
just
mute up. Mute up. I'm almost done.
let him land.
I'm
Let him
almost
land.
done. Mute up. Okay, I don't care what the fuck you want to call me, Oreo, any of that shit. It doesn't matter to me. I still make my money at the end of the day. I'm not worried about your opinion of me. What makes you think that if I come off on stage and say what the fuck I'm saying that I know is gonna hurt your feelings, that I care about what your feelings are of me? Okay, I'm speaking facts, whether you like it or not. That jury had the benefit of the facts that were given to it by the fucking prosecution and defense. Who y'all should be aiming your ire at is the fucking defense. This is not an example of how the court system failed Carmelo Anthony. This is an example of how his own fucking defense team failed him because they didn't draw the proper objections. They didn't fight hard enough to get a change of venue. They didn't fight hard enough to get a fucking to remove the charge of murder and bring it down to manslaughter or something else that they could contend with. They didn't fight hard enough for a plea deal. It's not the fucking jury
Lou, can I
that's
please go?
racist.
All right.
What you mean, Luke? Can I go?
Wait,
What
let,
you mean, Luke? Can I go?
Shut up.
Hey, no,
You
no.
heard what the fuck I
You
said.
can go.
You heard what
I'm
I
letting
said.
you
Can I
go.
go? Because you talking
I give you the
bullshit.
permission to go.
You
Who
talking
the fuck is
bullshit.
he talking to?
I'm talking to the
Coon.
room.
Calm
Calling
the
the
fuck
coon.
down, nigga.
Who else
Why
with you?
are you talking to us like that? You don't know how to have
Hey,
Nigga, talk to your wife like that, bitch. You don't talk to us like
Hey,
that.
clearly, y'all, clearly, the people that's talking don't know me. The girl that
Girl,
came
I
off
don't give a
mic knows
fuck
me.
if I know you.
Okay,
Exactly.
We just
We
trying to
don't know you.
perform.
Not you getting
Hey, let me say this,
cussed.
though. Come on, y'all. One mic. Let's respect
whoa,
Lou
whoa,
Room,
whoa,
y'all.
whoa,
Let's
whoa.
respect Lou Room. Come on,
now
come on.
what?
Hold on. All right. Wait. Let's just.
That nigga just
Hold on. Don't move nobody down my room.
My bad,
All right.
Lou. I got a
All
little,
right.
I got a
Hey,
little
but
excited.
look. He's entitled to his opinion, and then I disagree wholeheartedly. But I'm gonna let somebody vamp
Let
you.
me get in there.
You disagree with him? Oh, Omar, do you think?
yes.
Whoever, do you think?
I
Yeah, let me get in there.
disagree,
So,
and I like to say something real quick because I feel like first of all, let me start from the root to the motherfucking tutor. I feel like there's some black people in here who think because they have more of a education or they're from fucking Stanford University, whatever the fuck. I feel like they think that they can be condescending to other people because just now this girl Butterfly sat here and said I was one of those blacks. Earlier, people was
I was
insulting
talking to
Tory saying,
TC. Are you well?
whatever,
He don't know us,
whatever. That
Butterfly.
You
language,
He
want
that,
don't
me to
know
be
that
us.
talking
language,
to
He never
you?
that
shared
language.
spaces
Girl,
with
I
us.
don't give a
land.
fuck. I don't give a
Let
fuck.
her
You
land.
talking
Oh,
to me
you
now?
you one of
You're
those for
talking to me
sure.
now?
Let her land. Let her land.
If I go off on her, Louis,
Girl, you ain't
it's
gonna go
not
off
gonna be
on shit.
pretty.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. You ain't pretty.
Cause
Shut up.
you've been
Shut
popping
up,
it this
bitch.
whole
Shut
room, and
up.
I think the
Shut up.
misconception is
The
because
fuck.
I have more
Like
decorum
I
than you
was
that I
saying,
can't get up
like
there
I
with you.
was saying,
I think that's the
y'all been saying
misconception is
little
because I know how
triggering
to
words and
compose
being
myself
passive
that I
aggressive
can't get
this
up there
whole
with you.
fucking time,
But
coming at people trying to be
listen very
condescending.
carefully.
Y'all was insulting
I'm
Tori,
going to
talking about
use
she's
your
PC
emotions
bodies.
to make
Y'all
you
was
act
insulting me,
irrational.
talking
Let's
about
keep
I
going.
was one of those blacks.
Let's keep
At the
going.
end of the day,
Let's
it's
keep
okay for
going.
people to have
You
an
irritated
opinion
yet?
and just speak their
You
fucking
irritated
opinion.
yet?
But it is
You
not okay for
irritated
y'all to
yet?
sit up here and try to make
You
somebody
want my
feel like they
attention? You
should be
got it.
judged
You
because of the
irritated
fact.
yet?
Girl, shut the fuck up. Ain't nobody
Oh,
thinking
you are
about you, bitch.
irritated.
Blouse,
Let's
move.
stay mad.
At the end of the fucking
Let's
day,
stay mad.
y'all are so focused on trying
Let's
to
stay
say
mad.
that
No.
this
You have
system
my
created and
attention.
stacked
Use it
against us
wisely.
is something that was ever supposed to be fair for
Oh,
us.
okay.
This whole shit was built against us from the fucking beginning. So I don't know where we're getting off thinking that the system is supposed to do right by us and the prosecution did what they were supposed to do. That whole thing was fucking rigged from the fucking beginning. It being in Texas is more the reason why this shit was fucking rigged. He was never going to get a fair case. He was never going to get a fair trial. It never is fair for us in the beginning. So for y'all to continue to demonize black people for standing on their fucking square and saying this is some bullshit, I think that's fucking corny as hell.
Hey, Vapor,
And I think that y'all are lost in the fucking sauce.
let me say this to you, sister, because I get
Y'all
what you're
lost in the
saying.
no. I'm not no, because I'm not no sister of
She's
y'all. So y'all to
angry,
be
Come on, y'all.
fair.
Just
No.
share, y'all.
Now you throwing out. Yeah, I am angry.
Let me
I
just
am
respond.
angry,
You
and I
said some
should
good stuff.
be.
Let me
And I
get in there.
should
Mad.
be.
Let me get in
I
there, y'all.
should be
Come on,
angry. I
Vapor.
should
Why
be
you got
fucking
a chip
mad,
on
and
your
you
shoulder?
should be
Like,
mad
what's going on
too.
in your life? Why
You
you
should
so
be
mad?
mad too.
Respect
You
my
should be
room,
mad
Chip on
too.
your
Hold
shoulder.
on.
Why are you so mad? What's going on?
Somebody
Why do
get
I
him
have a
some
chip on
milk.
my fucking shoulder?
I'm
This
trying to
little
figure
boy
out
Need
just
if you're
got
some milk.
35
yelling.
years
Why
to
are you so
fucking
mad?
life.
I'm
What
confused.
the why do you think I'm mad? Why
Yo,
aren't you
Vapor,
I'm
mad?
share the
I'm
mic.
asking
Why
you why.
Share
aren't
the
you
mic.
mad?
Real
What do you mean?
talk.
Why do I think? I'm asking.
All right, just so y'all y'all know.
Hello?
I do this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Now look,
yeah,
Latour.
Go, baby,
They
go.
keep fucking
Go,
dropping
baby,
me.
go.
No,
hold
because
on.
they
I ain't
dropping
touched
me.
you yet.
Omar.
Girl, shut the fuck up. You ain't gonna touch shit, your
Omar,
scary ass.
It's
You've been on here
interesting. You don't
copping
have no
deuces the
smoke.
whole
Hold on,
fucking
just step
time.
aside. Omar,
You've been
step
copping deuces
aside.
the whole
I don't need
fucking
no
time.
man
Shut up.
speaking for me. It's
All right,
interesting
just
that
I
like
don't
you
want to
cannot
talk to you. I don't
articulate
want to talk to
yourself
you.
in a
I'm
way
done.
that
I don't
shows
want to
that you
talk to
have
you.
the.
Hold on, my bad. I just got back. I had a phone call. Hold on, my bad. I just got back. I was on the phone call.
No, you didn't.
Listen. People are allowed to be passionate about this. Y'all can't try to dictate people's emotion. A 17-year-old kid just got 35 years in prison. So if this was your nephew,
Lou, what the fuck do that
your
got to do with
brother.
somebody calling me out?
No. I'm not talking about y'all situation. I don't
You know
know.
you got to be direct. Cause she getting off where
I'm
she
not
mad
talking
at
about
and it's
you and her.
misplaced.
Girl, please, goodbye.
I'm
That's
not
what I'm
talking
talking
about you.
about. She getting off where she
You
mad at.
addressed
Like,
me the
what you so
first
mad at
time.
me
Keep the
for?
I'm
same
not talking
energy.
about
You
you and
addressed
her.
me
I'm
the
not
first
talking
time I
about you.
opened my mouth and
You are
opened my
hella
fucking mic.
mad.
Keep the
Like, what's
same
good with
energy.
you?
What's
Yeah,
the
because
issue? I
you
don't
picked
get it.
me out the bunch and
I
thought shit
Yeah,
was
cause
sweet
mean,
you
and it's
picked me
not.
out the
come on,
bunch,
y'all.
even though
Yeah,
you was talking to
bitch.
That's
T.
all
That's
we
like
need.
But
We
that's
imagine
we
if
did
we
address that
all
first,
sat
though.
to have a
like,
conversation. Exactly.
Hey, I look, mean,
what are
I
you
wanted
even
to
talking
What's your
about?
issue? I don't understand.
maybe if people can
hold
talk
on.
one at a time,
Yeah.
then
What's the issue? I don't even get it. What
No,
happened?
she's
Just be clear.
senseless. I can't talk
Hold
in
on.
a
Hold
Just
on,
senseless
one
Tisha,
mic,
because
one
I
mic,
was
She
one
going
don't
to
mic.
say
have
something to what
sense.
you said right
I'm
quick.
just about to make a disclaimer. Just y'all, so y'all know.
CC,
I
you the
wasn't
reason why
angry.
this all
I know I am. I
upset
know
and
I am. I know.
uproar.
That's why I'm trying
Exactly.
to just get this disclaimer real quick.
That's his
Just so y'all
fault.
What's on
know,
Omar
some of
though?
you guys are new. I know. I'm just gonna make this disclaimer, Lou. Some of y'all new to the stage. Some of y'all are new to IGB. This is how I act to get
Oh
like
my
the
God.
conversation moving. So I'm not really angry at anybody or anything. I just do this like it's performative. Like
So you
That's
being
why we said you
You
was
performative.
said that. You
slow.
said you
No,
was.
no, no.
No,
Do
what I'm
y'all,
saying.
y'all think
Stop lying. You was dead serious. You start turning red when you got mad. Yellow ass nigga. Garbage
Fact.
ass nigga.
Hold on, I definitely believe
ain't gonna lie?
100%. Hold on.
He
I
did.
definitely
He got mad,
believe
Lou.
and stand behind 100%
Nigga
of what
You
got
I
start talking about your
mad.
said.
money.
I'm just saying
Anytime
I'm
a nigga
not
start talking about
angry.
that money, you know they
I'm not
mad, nigga. I
angry at
got more
nobody.
money than
Y'all
y'all. Y'all ain't
don't
gonna do shit about it. Nigga,
don't
you
take
mad
my
as hell.
tone as if I'm angry, y'all. This is just how I perform. But no, I mean every single word that I
Nigga, you
said.
was
Every
spitting all on
every
you got
syllable.
hella saliva on your phone right
But
now.
but
Beat it.
I don't want you. The
Hey,
ladies
let me
thought I
tell
was
you. Wait,
screaming
hold
and
on,
talking
Omar.
at
Hold on,
somebody.
let's
I
pass it to
wasn't
Omar
screaming
real
at
quick.
nobody.
You was
Let's
talking
pass it to
about how
Omar.
much money you
Let
had
me
up. It
tell you,
sounds crazy.
TC is one of them
Oh no, I meant it
bootstrapping.
though. But I just
Hold on,
Especially after I
I'm not
said
angry.
Oreo.
TC is one of those TC is one of those bootstrapping exception to the
Lou,
rules. And
don't
if
get me
I
Boo
started,
if
bro.
I
liquor.
can do it,
Lou,
hold
don't
on.
get me bootstrap. Don't get me
If I
started on
can do it,
bootstrapping, bro.
if I can do it and be successful, then y'all niggas don't got no excuse. So let's not bring up systemic racism because that didn't work with me because I'm from the trenches of Detroit. This is
You
his
damn
mentality,
Skippy.
right? Now,
You
now,
damn
now, now,
Skippy.
now, now, if we look at statistics, because you said that we leading with feelings, right? Now we know that Black Americans and white Americans smoke marijuana at the same exact rate, right? And we know that Black Americans are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana, right? So this is not a feelings argument. This is statistics. We know that Black Americans in the United States, well, America as a whole, America is 4.5% of the world's population and house over a quarter of the world's prisoners, right? And
Put that up, y'all.
Black Americans are the most incarcerated group per capita outside of Aboriginal Australians, right? So it's not a coincidence that the people that descended from chattel slavery, right, convict leasing, are the same people and the same descendants in 2026 that are the most incarcerated group in the world. But you're going to relegate it to family, bootstrapping, and we got to improve the community, right?
And
And
let
you
me tell you
see
why.
similar statistics,
And let
right?
me tell you why.
Aboriginal Australians are 2% of Australia population and 40% of the prisoners. But you're going to say the reason why the Aboriginal Australians is locked up at the highest rate is
Oh,
because
nigga, I don't know nothing about
families
Aboriginal
and they don't
Australians,
work
bro.
hard enough.
I'm not talking about.
Nigga,
I'm not talking
please.
about fucking Aboriginal Australians. I don't know what the fuck you getting
Well, they go
Aboriginal
through the same
Australians from.
shit, nigga.
No,
You
no. I'm
know,
talking about the. I'm
you know
talking
when
about the
the British
breakdown of the
left
black
America and
family.
went to
I'm
Australia and
talking
did the
about.
same shit,
I'm
nigga.
talking about the moment that they instituted policies like welfare reform is when they started
Why are
breaking up the
black
black
men on the
family. When they
why are black men
implemented
the most exonerated group in America?
because we're the most targeted. That doesn't change the fact that we
Oh,
shouldn't give them the noose
targeted.
to
I'm glad
hang
you
us,
said
Lou.
that.
Hold on. That doesn't change the fact that we should not be giving them the noose to hang us. Mind you, we're having a cultural conversation, so it's shifted from the Carmelo Anthony conversation conversation, so we're not talking about Carmelo Anthony right now. But let me be perfectly clear. The moment we decide to carry around fucking a 2-pound bag of marijuana, drive that shit around and deal it, doesn't change the fact that we're giving them the noose to hang us. The moment we decide to deprive our kids of a proper education and expose them to street life because we don't have the sense enough to go to the PTA meetings and check our kids' report cards when they come home, doesn't give you the ability to make an excuse for why we're the most targeted. If we know we're the most targeted, Lou, then why are we putting a big ass target on our back every goddamn day? Answer that question.
Victim blaming.
No, wait, let me say this.
We're going too far though. I wanted
Answer
to.
that
Yeah.
question.
Let me say this really quickly.
No,
What
man,
about the
because
black
it's going to
people?
take a.
What about the black people that can't afford
Because if
the
you actually look at
education?
fatherlessness in the black community,
It's
you
on
have
Omar.
that. You can't blame the government.
I'll
You
go
can't
after
blame
Omar.
the
It's fine.
government for why we got a bunch of kids running around here with no fathers in the home,
There it
and
goes.
non-present fathers in the home. Hello,
Says the
black
guy that
men.
blamed the
Hello,
Democratic
black
Party
men.
for
I'm not
breaking up.
blaming black.
Says the guy
I'm
that
not blaming
blamed the
anybody. Guess what?
Democratic. Says
I'm
the
applying.
fucking guy that blamed the
Applying
Democratic Party
accountability.
for breaking up the family. Make
Oh
your
yeah,
fucking mind up.
100%. But why the fuck do we keep voting for them to keep breaking up our families in the first place, Lou? Answer that question.
Anyway,
It's on
cut it
Omar.
the fuck
Omar,
out.
Lou with
All
the
right, let's get
facts.
it.
If it's the Democratic Party
Come on,
that broke
TC.
up the family with the
that
crime
nigga
bill in the
Omar.
first place,
No,
why
I
the
agree
fuck
with.
we keep putting them
Yeah.
in office?
I'm going after
No,
you, Omar. Do you hear me? I'm going after you.
all right, let's get it. Now,
Answer
I
that
wanted
question.
to. Build on what TC was saying because it's a lot of people that until you have been in the legal system and fought for your freedom, you don't really know the tricks, the games they play, and how to win and how to navigate in that system. So, Lou, let me ask you this: did you watch the YSL case?
Not really. But see, that's different. Them niggas willingly promote street life, and you got to deal with the consequences if you're gonna glorify that lifestyle.
He sounded like
Carmelo,
TC, ain't he?
Carmelo
He
was a
sounded like
straight A
TC, ain't
student
he?
and never glorified no street shit. So we're not
Yeah,
gonna use that.
no. But I'm just
Why
saying
you
that.
victim blaming, Lou?
Now, hold on. So,
They
that
cool with
ain't,
the
that ain't even my point,
consequences.
though, Lou. What I'm saying is, if you paid attention to the trial, did you see anything corrupt about that county?
Nah, tell me, because I really
What
didn't
about
I
Donald
really
Trump?
didn't
Like,
I
because
really
Donald
didn't pay
Trump,
attention to it.
yeah, his case was in that same county. Do you think that they were just in how they handled the Trump case, or do you think they handled it properly?
I don't know. I think they didn't they conspire against Trump. I don't know. I don't really know
All
the
right, so I'm gonna break it down. So Fulton County, what the case was, Lucci, Gucci Man, Donald Trump. That's the biggest county in Georgia. And if you follow the YSL case, you will see that there was a lot of corrupt things taking place. I don't know if you remember the issue with the judge at the time, and
The
it
judge
was a lot. So,
went and took little
mhm,
homeboy back in the room, had a little conversation with him,
and was
and then
supposed to do that. Yeah,
wouldn't let Steele inquire as to what was discussed in that meeting.
right.
And he tried to lock the defense attorney up and put him
Lux
in
in the building.
contempt
Yeah,
of court.
yeah. So based on what TC was saying, y'all, like I had 2 criminal cases in the county and beat the county twice. One at trial, and one
Somebody
before.
got Mickey blocked. I'm blocked Mickey or we moving y'all down. Continue, brother.
Yeah. So but the reason why I was successful is because I represented myself. I didn't because based on what I know, being in the entertainment industry on a high level, you start to see how wicked the system is. So that's why when I look at Carmelo's situation, when TC was saying the defense, because it ain't about the judge. The judge is just a referee. That's why it's called a court, like a tennis court, basketball court. It's symbolic. So he's just a referee. Now, the jurors, yeah, they could be biased, but it's up to the defense attorney to make sure that certain things are on the record. So when they go through the appellate process, he is um, properly representing his client to make sure that he's not waiving any rights. So when I started to see little things about his defense, I'm like, nah, somebody that ain't you an attorney, you know better. Because if I didn't go to law school and I'm going against corporate attorneys, because you got to think I've been on the civil side and the criminal side, and I've been very victorious. So I can never speak bad about this system. It's just our people don't want to study and understand legality and how the system is set up. I didn't whoop the ass in court. And that's why once I fought for my freedom, I was victorious. Now I'm in federal court going after everybody by myself. And it's primarily because I've seen attorneys do some wicked things. you have attorneys that will sell out their own client. Like, this thing is deep. I don't think y'all really understand how corrupt the system is. So the legal system is just in a certain way, but it's corrupt depending on, like, for example, like when I beat my second case, I did an open records request. I wanted the footage so I could post it on my page to show my people, like, look, don't be afraid of these people. Know your rights, understand law, and fight for what you deserve. But they're saying, like, oh, we don't got no footage, and I'm going back and forth with the attorney's office. I'm like, I know y'all got cameras in this courtroom. Under Georgia law, I'm entitled to that footage. So now, once I fill in my federal cases, I'm going after the county again so I can get that footage. But they play little games like that. So it ain't got shit to do with black and white. I know white reporters who tried to get certain open records from that same county, and they was given a runaround. They just didn't want to spend money on legal fees fighting them. But that county is terrible, and it's ran by a lot of brown people, black people. But I know that white people control that county. It's a fucked up county. But anyway, Lou, what TC is saying is, like, y'all are using y'all emotions for the wrong things. What we need to be doing now, if you really love that young brother and you care about him, if you have a connection to the family, if his family hasn't sold him out, as a father, if his father hasn't sold out, and y'all can advocate and say, look, your son was fucked over. We need to get this particular attorney to represent him. I think I heard it earlier when I was working out somebody. I think that was TC when we talked about the ineffective nature of counsel.
Yeah, that was me. Yep.
Yeah, so that's a better, because if your attorney, because the way it works on the appellate level, a lot of people don't know this, you can't add new things. Once it's at the appellate level, anything that was done on the lower level, that's it. You can't come back and say, hey, let me add this. It's too late now. So if the defense attorney didn't secure his rights in that moment,
by objecting.
Exactly, by objecting, right? The high court is going to look at it like, hey, look, it's like this. A lot of people know, most of y'all in here know that you have the right to a speedy trial. But what y'all don't know, if you don't read Supreme Court cases to learn about high courts and how they think and how judges think, you still have to put that in writing. Just because you're entitled to that right, you still have to enforce that right. You have to petition the court and say, look, I'm demanding a speedy trial. But if you don't put that, even if your case takes 10 years, right? You can't go back and tell the Supreme Court they fucked me over, I'm appealing because they denied me my right to speedy trial. They're going to say, well, did you advocate for yourself to fight for a speedy trial? Because I've seen court cases that ruled against people who use that argument. So this is why we as people, we have to start taking the emotion out of things, and we have to study. We got to read cases and understand jurisdictions and how Texas is different than Georgia, and Georgia is different than Florida, and what makes their jurisdiction different than the other, and look at certain court cases and why people were victorious and why people weren't. Because if you think the system is fucked up like that, OJ motherfucking ass went to won. Obama wouldn't have got his ass in there if the country is that fucked up. So when y'all start crying and using this, oh, the white man, I didn't employ white men. Ain't nobody afraid of white men. I'm suing white motherfuckers right now, public officials. So y'all got to start running with the narrative that we are afraid of these people and we can't do nothing and we weak. Nah, fuck that. So I agree with what the brother is saying, and I'm just giving you a different perspective because I didn't been through it. So can't nobody tell me better. I know how the system is set up and what's fucked up about it. So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
True talk, Omar. True talk.
That's a very selfish thing to say. Y'all over here like, yeah, that's worth too much. Like, no.
About it.
It's extremely selfish just because
you
are the outlier and you have one lived experience doesn't speak for the other black men that are having another experience in a system. So to say that, like, oh my gosh, this is I don't like when y'all do that.
Wait, is Cardi B live speaking
it's echoing.
Because I know she's on Twitter speaking out, but is she live on any platform speaking out? Because I definitely want to hear from her. See, that's why the people fuck with Cardi B, because she come when you need her. Like, and she come heavy. I know she's on I know for a fact that she's on here on Twitter speaking out, because I actually have been advocating and looking at the post. I reshared this one right here. You see the reshare. And I also commented on this. I knew she was talking about Karmelo Anthony, and I dropped the link to the video. And so, but is she on Instagram speaking out or doing anything like that? If so, like vocally, that's what I want to know. Like, she's tweeting right now. I'm pretty sure she'll go live and do a damn thing. I mean, it's Cardi B. Cardi B was a personality first and foremost. So, I want to know if Nikki has something to say about this as well. That'd be quite interesting to know. But yeah, I definitely caught her. I also see that Alex Jones and his people have sat down with the jurors, and Alex Jones in InfoWars got an exclusive interview with a juror that spoke about why the 3 potential black jurors were eliminated.
Let's go to Petra, called in. She was a juror in the selection pool of the Karmelo Anthony trial. Petra, so you weren't there for the entire trial. You were just there for the jury selection?
Correct.
Okay.
There was nearly 600 of us, and I was in the last 250. And I noticed, I watched all of the voir dire going on, and those 3 black jurors, they kind of eliminated themselves. One of them was a gentleman who said, I could never convict a brother, so he kind of knocked himself out. And the other 2 were women. They were educators, and the nature of their questions and their comments, I think, kind of pointed toward bias. So they kind of, in my never to be humble opinion, kind of eliminated themselves. And I've been a juror before, and the more you talk, the more you're probably going to get yourself eliminated.
Right.
That's just like dealing with the police. Don't answer. Only answer the question. Don't give them any more information.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of people that would stand up and say they wouldn't be able to convict somebody who looks like a young person or a child, which he's not a child. But so there was a lot of that going on. A lot of people were unable to be on that jury because it was, they felt like they were putting a child in prison.
Now, how long did it take you or the process to go through? It was like they said 589 people. How long did that process take?
Took about 3 days because I was there for the whole thing. I was on the last day when they let 100 of us go, and then they had narrowed it down to the last 150, and then that day is when they selected the 12 and the alternates.
And at any time, did you feel that there was racial bias going on with the jury selection process?
Absolutely not. It was a very educating experience, especially here in the state of Texas. I'm originally from California. I escaped from my hellhole there, and I was on a jury years ago, so it was interesting for me to learn a little bit of the difference between premeditation, that concept, and the shadow of a doubt, which is a little different than in California. So I got to learn quite a bit. But no, I did not see any bias as far as anything like that. And we were all numbers, not names. And I'm not using my real name either on your call either.
Okay.
But it was a very interesting experience. But it was, and we already knew that Anthony was not going to speak for himself or Karmelo, because his defense attorneys asked, how would you all feel if he does not speak for himself? And a lot of people said, that's probably not a good thing if he's claiming self-defense, and we want to hear about it.
And I feel like her saying that race didn't have anything to do with it is her actually doing her duty to uphold white supremacists. Honestly and truthfully, and I said it a while ago, stop fucking talking. I know you want to be the smartest person, and I know you're zealous and excited, but you keep asking them questions regardless of your race. They're going to be like, wait, this person can actually think critically. I can't really convince this person of anything. And then I also know they're going to be a problem if I can convince everybody else. They're going to continue to ask questions and delay the process. So shut the fuck up. I feel like the black jurors that felt a certain type of way about Karmelo, or anybody, whether good, bad, or indifferent, don't show that. Like, literally, don't show that. What's the sense of praying, and if God sit your ass down and send you to a case to help a black man be vindicated, and it's only a few of you who was summoned, why would you eliminate yourself? You should have closed your fucking mouth as a juror, and if they would have eliminated you, it would have been easier to prove racism on appeal. You think white people don't feel certain ways about black people? They have imposed control when it comes to race for the most part. And just like what we discuss behind closed doors and what we say, they do the same thing. Black American people are the only ones that are drag their business out in public for everybody to see, to learn us, to pigeonhole us, to figure out like, oh, this person got this character trait, or this is what I can do to win this person over. This is why we will never be free or liberated. Even today, like what we seen after the Karmelo Anthony verdict. So many people were showing out outside of the court throughout the whole week and talking about what they're going to do if he's found guilty. He's found guilty and you didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, they made an example out of one gentleman that was outside of the court acting like an ape, like literally acting like an animal in front of this guy's face. They arrested him just to test the crowd. And then this other black guy who seemed to be the biggest, baddest, and toughest with a white shirt and a pink tie, they arrested him too, just to see what the black people outside the court was going to do. And it didn't make any sense for Ratchet TV to go over there and antagonizing all of those women. How bad he beat women. Somebody like that should have been called out and behind bars. Like, why is he out able to go to a Karmelo trial when he should be behind bars? But again, this is a lesson learned. Y'all hearing it from the horse's mouth. Shut the fuck up if you're selected to be on the jury. Don't sit up there and tell them and show them how smart you are. You become a threat. Are you cool? Like, we know that. They always talking about pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and we take that to be literal and show them how smart we are, and then we're knocked 10 steps back. Oh, this one is smart and present, and it can preserve themselves. Let me not deal with this one. Let me act like this person is a problem, when in actuality, you actually could be the key to salvation of your own people in this situation. Again, I'm going to say all three of those black jurors that felt that type of way and got up and said that, especially the black man, I'm not going to lock up a brother, and they questioned you and all of this stuff. They did that to pad the record, to eliminate Karmelo's chance for claiming racial selection in the jury pool. They used you as an example. And it's going to be hard to prove that because they opened their fucking mouth instead of just sitting back and letting the process be the process, making sure you're secured on that jury pool, making sure you just hanging out, doing whatever you need to do. Probably, pull a little LeBron James here and there, but at the same time, even that nigga wouldn't have convicted Karmelo Anthony. What you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below.
So it was, they had a tough time picking some folks that would not let all this kind of stuff affect them.
Yeah, and so I guess you didn't see the makeup of the final jury that was there.
No. I was dismissed right before they chose those.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's very interesting. And I see what you're saying by premeditation or shadow of a doubt, because, apparently he at some point he had to make that decision to go into his backpack and pull out a knife. And why did he bring a knife with him? I mean, who goes to a track meet looking for a knife fight? That's what a lot of people were probably saying to themselves. If I was on the jury, that's what I would have said. Who goes, like, I don't go to a soccer, I used to play soccer in high school. I played basketball in college. I also played tennis. I never thought of bringing a knife to one of my matches ever in high school. Not even, and when I played in college, I didn't think that either. I never was like, well, I better bring a knife in case something breaks down.
Right, exactly.
So I don't,
anyway.
That's not good. And his defense and him not speaking for himself, which I think, they do that so it doesn't open him up to the defense.
Fuck that.
Or the prosecution questioning him. That's why they didn't do that. And they knew he was going to get dusted, because the witnesses that they were calling forth kept saying, well, it doesn't look like any self-defense. They weren't bullying the guy. They just told me he had to leave. And it didn't look like they were about to beat him up. They just said, hey, you got to get out of here. And, obviously he took it way too far. And it's a shame. It's a shame. 2 lives are ruined because of that action. Karmelo is going to ruin his life, and then he killed another kid. So, I don't think anybody wants to see anybody ruin their life. But when you do that, you do have to pay the consequences. So I'm only thinking he's going to get 8 years. What do you think? You think?
I think they're going to probably give him more.
Okay.
I think so. If they were so quick to find him guilty of murder, I don't think they're going to just let him off with 5 years or anything like that. I think they will go for at least 25 or more. I hope because we can't. And here in Collin County, that's the reason I moved to Collin County specifically, was because it is a very conservative stronghold here, and I am a conservative Republican, and that's why.
Collins County, where the Grand Master of the KKK lives, reside, plague throughout the community and society. Make no mistake, Karmelo Anthony lost at the spiritual level. Like this was just a show for Judge Roach to go in and act all mean and hardcore and make people believe that he's up front and scary and don't play that game. That was him playing his part. For the defense attorney to come out acting nice, that was him playing his part. And for the prosecutors acting all mean and nasty and shit, that was all a game they was playing a part of. That's just what it is, simply put. And from the looks of Jeff MetCalf, Melissa, and even Hunter in court today, it would have definitely been interesting to see them show the trial live stream coverage so that the whole world can see Jeff MetCalf training and telling those black students to snitch on Karmelo. And of course, they all ganged up against him. That's how a gang work. A gang do crime together and they gonna lie together. And that's just one of these deep, dark high school secrets at Memorial High School that is gonna plague society. They're apparently doing documentaries of this on both sides from both point of views, like how they did Megan and Tory Lanez. But at the end of the day, I do feel in fear for Karmelo. I do. Who knows? But I will say over sentencing black boys is not unheard of. I have a brother that got sentenced to 40 years in prison and he didn't even kill nobody. And he's still fighting his case after 18 years. So, Karmelo's small. He needs to get with the Muslim. I'm pretty sure someone in there, especially somebody black, is going to see him. They've been watching the news. They understand who he is when he come up in there. And, somebody is going to take him under their wing. I don't know if he's going to have to give up some, if you know what I mean, but I don't think he will be so unprotected to the extent of, racial biasness or whatever. But I'm almost afraid for his life right now. He need to get out of Collin County. The police and them are liable to let Hunter come in there and do something to unalive him. And they say he hung himself. That's how paranoid I would get if I was, Karmelo Anthony's family, because they're all tight knit and close. Like this woman said, Collins County, conservative, far-right Republican, everybody there has the same ideology. The black people are under control. They went along with the program, the narrative. Even the witness that Karmelo called that went to school with him, he flipped in real time after the prosecutor told him, remember I sat with you and your dad? And then he has a scholarship to LSU, that the KKK have their roots all throughout the South. Hunter's going to the University of Arkansas, one of the most racist places in America. So these people really have done an injustice. And this is exactly why they didn't want no cameras in the court, because they had it all planned out before any of this happened. This is all just a show. Period, point blank. And the more I look at Drew, that lawyer, he looked like a Klans member. All that big ass beard. He looked like he eat human flesh too. The lawyer that Karmelo have.
I escaped from my
How did you
hometown,
live
San
in
Diego.
California? I guess San Diego's not too bad, but the rest of the state.
Yeah, well, yeah, it all rolls up into a big ball. But
Yeah.
I moved here to Collin County precisely because we follow laws here. You can't get away with stuff.
Yeah, and it took about a year for justice to be served, which is fairly short in the grand scheme of things. I mean, we still don't know who stole the 2020 election.
Oh, and I will tell you, this Judge Roach, you don't want to mess with this guy. He's a pretty scary guy. So
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he's a great judge. I have.
We already pulled up a video of him acting soft and passive and smiling and laughing and shit with convicted fucking criminals just because they're in the military. VA, look it up. So much corruption has gone on in Collins County. A judge, a white woman, got caught up in a bribery scheme. A district attorney over there in Collins County or somewhere in Dallas-Fort Worth got caught up for taking a $200,000 bribe. Okay, the average household income in Collins County, like I heard, is $150,000. White Republican, fucking trailer trash. Cause the mother, what's her name, Melissa Metcalf? Yeah, she's definitely a fucking crackhead. You see her, she was next to Hunter. She wasn't right there with the daddy. Cause they don't get along. He probably done beat her all kind of ways. And that boy Austin probably broke his motherfucking arm for disrespecting his mother. Now that's a big win. That's something that needs to be celebrated. And can y'all please stop with this whole fascination with wanting Hunter and Austin to be this all-American hero and shit? Like, really? Come on. Austin is white folks' George Floyd. If you know, you know. But at the same time, like, I don't think anybody deserves to lose their life like that. They always talking about danger and how dangerous black people are. This is going to set the community back even further. They've segregated the tents now because of this incident. They're going to redraw the district map so that Centennial High School is no longer in the same district as Memorial High School. Just keep on inching away. Keep on maintaining that white supremacist. And, you know, we'll get to a point in 2026, 2027. Not only do you have to get from underneath my tent, get out my motherfucking district, because we going to maintain the sun downtown over here. So a lot of the black kids that probably live in like the marginalized sector that goes to Memorial High, they're probably more than likely going to prioritize mapping y'all out to make that an all-white school, which is why they suck, which is why Hunter ain't never been an All-American, ain't never been no star, ain't on no posters, ain't doing nothing that's outlandish, outstanding, nor did Austin. They was just bullies. They weren't even popular in high school. How the fuck you lose a brother and you go get his diploma during senior year and don't nobody cheer for you? The fuck? Should we look at Memorial High School yearbook to figure out how decorated you are? Did Hunter get a spread with all the money that y'all gave him?
The utmost respect for him.
And you guys are north of Dallas, right?
Right. Princeton is in northeast of Dallas.
Okay.
And someone said, what can be done? The federal court get involved. Listen, that's all a process. And this boy's life is in danger. I totally feel like the next time we hear a story from these KKK Klans members over there in Collins County, Karmelo Anthony did something to himself, and now you got a mother that's really worried about her child. And the MetCalf, that's unfortunate, you know. A life was lost, 35 years ain't enough, man. I feel like they really want to torture and splatter Karmelo to the point the way they have to peel him off the concrete. That's how mad these racist white folks is. Even madder because he was out, free, with an ankle monitor on for a whole year. They didn't like that either. They even chastised the black judge over there and then put out in the mainstream media. I think it was WFAA, how they don't tolerate nobody doxing and harassing her, and you be the one that told the clerks down there to give out her motherfucking information to dox her. Like, literally, racist trolls back again. That's fine. Y'all are welcome. Please give me the click and view. All of that. Greatly appreciate you. Alligator Slime, you done put some chicken in the chat. Thank you. Okay? Thank you. No, you tell a nigga like Al Sharpton and Dominique to get a bucket of chicken and hit the bleachers while the real niggas do this shit over here. And please don't call me no monkey. I love when y'all come up in here. Paul Moon, tell him.
Have you took a good look at a monkey? A monkey got thin lips. Take a good look at a monkey. A monkey got light eyes. Take a good look at a monkey. A monkey got straight hair. Take a good look at a monkey. I thought I saw a monkey on a skateboard the other day. I saw Planet of the Apes. I ain't seen none of us in it.
Be served,
white folks in Planet of the Apes.
which is fairly short in the grand scheme of things. I mean, we still don't know who stole the 2020 election.
Oh, and I will tell you this.
You can tell he a Klansman. You don't start the 2020 election. Like, this world is ran by a big-ass fat cat that's on a Diddy tape. And mind you, we know Donald Trump is gay. A nigga named Jonathan Audie did an interview with the FBI back in 2019. Remember the dude that shot up the Donald Trump Tower? Well, he told the FBI Donald Trump was mad because he didn't want to fist him. and then told us that Diddy and Cassie gave him herpes and he had to sue them. We ain't believe none of that in 2019. Next thing you know, we pull all of that back up. So if he was telling the truth about Diddy and Cassie and shot up the Trump Tower, y'all know Trump was up there trying to get fisted, and the man said no with his predator ass. So you celebrate a gay ass president that go to sleep at the drop of a dime and eat more McDonald's than I did when I was a motherfucking child.
Judge Roach, you don't want to mess with this guy. He's a pretty scary guy. So, yeah.
Okay.
He's a great judge. I have the utmost respect for him.
And you guys are north of Dallas, right?
Right. Princeton is in northeast of Dallas.
Okay.
And this courthouse
Northeast.
is in McKinney.
Oh, all right.
Wait, the courthouse is literally in McKinney. That's the same place where they were finna, the little short ass dude that was about the same size as Karmelo Anthony, you know, the white police officer, came there with them big ass, tall ass black kids that was 14 and 15 trying to flex some muscle. Motherfucker went out there doing a stop and roll like he hiding the Cooter Brown out there, bitch. Then pulled the gun out and had his knee on the 14-year-old back. Y'all remember that? That happened in McKinney. McKinney, Texas. Okay? History just hide itself. It hide itself. It repeats itself over and over. Them clans ain't never left McKinney, Texas. They ain't never left McKinney, Texas. They're right there. This is exactly why when the MetCalfs were interviewed by the Fox News anchor, he specifically said, I know the family because I got friends connected to them. And you're on the news? Like, there's a lot of corruption that happened in this situation, and it's a big, big issue. And the thing about it, the more we bring a light to it, now that Karmelo is in their custody, the more I feel like it's dangerous because they feel like if they, like a real KKK, McKinney County fucking, they really think that by getting rid of him will get rid of the problem when it's only going to antagonize it. That's it. That is it. The police is nasty. The police been out here unaliving us. They on social media obsessed with black people, looking at all the drama that we're putting each other in, all the police reports that we're filing, and all this shit. They know all the street tea about who got beef with who got the juice. And then they'll go and pluck up one of us that's hiding in the neighborhood, and we'll be pointing fingers at black folks. It'd be the police that's killing our people out here. So I really, really feel bad for Karmelo. Pray for him. Definitely pray for him. Because that brother need more protection now than ever. Fuck a GoFundMe.
I know where McKinney is. Okay.
Princeton's just a little town.
Right. Well, appreciate you calling, Petra. Thanks for doing your civic duty and at least, going there and taking the time. You took 3 days out of your life to go be part of the legal system, and that's what we need. Good people to be on juries. You go to D.C. and it's like whoever the Democrats want to put in jail, they're ready. They're like, who? Just give us a name. We'll put them in jail. We don't care.
Side by y'all bashed up and taught them people shit, and y'all deserve to go to jail. And then you got Jack Lane. That's the dude that broke into the track and field school, and he took a video on the concrete where it looked like it was a period stain and said that was Austin's blood when the nigga died on the bleacher. And I'm like, what are you doing? So he went out there on June the 2nd, hooping and hollering, and they arrested him on that warrant. And they gave him an order to stay 200 feet away from the court. But then 2 days later, he was back out there saying Karmelo Anthony need to be hanging from a tree and swinging in McKinney, Texas. In McKinney, Texas, okay? This is the most racist place in Texas, if you ask me, Collin County. And this is what happened. It was a lynching. Two young black men. One, Cyrus, they planted a blicky on him. Andy Child lied for his daddy. They planted a blicky on him. And Andy Child got away with that crime. He also shot at a black woman for stealing peanuts and M&Ms and running out the store. Andy Child shot at that black woman car 6 times, and then he shot a nigga for stealing some toilet bowl cleaner. And you know what he was gonna go make with that. I bet you Jeff MetCalf know what they make with toilet bowl cleaner. Oh, shit, my ass motherfucker. Anyways, Yeah, so rest in peace, Cyrus. That was gunned down by Mr. Chow. And Andy lied, saying that that boy had a blicky at him. How you got a blicky when you got on a hoodie that's baggy and you got on you holding up your shorts and you coming out your shoe and you on the ground on your back. And somebody's supposed to turn around quickly and discharge a firearm at you. And that happened over in South Carolina. You can blame it on racism, white people, or is it systemic racism? Because last I checked, the county that this happened in South Carolina is majority black, 60%. But then you got reptilian looking ass black niggas with fucking burnt ass hot dogs for fingers talking about they're the investigators and they investigated Cyrus's Instagram, and then they found the screenshot of him holding a blicky. First of all, evidence really matter, and objections also really matter when putting things before the court. How can you say you got a picture off of Cyrus's Instagram when you did not establish that that picture came from Instagram? There was no screenshot, there was no metadata, or no type of forensic evidence to prove that that picture came from Instagram. The picture was just looked like a printout of an 8x10 that looked edited, and then you put like a light on his head to say that that light was coming from the blicky, and that way that it was angled, that light could not possibly come from that blicky. It was photoshopped because y'all said that that was the blicky that was confiscated off of Cyrus at the scene. And Andy Chow sat down with his ugly ass and lied, saying that the blicky that was confiscated that Cyrus had, and he had to look down the barrel and was scared for his life, had a silver tip when it was black. And then I see the prosecutor over in South Carolina about to take him the blicky to confirm it and ask him 3 times, are you sure the weapon used had a silver tip? He said yes, yes, yes. And then he didn't even take in the blicky. And the people didn't get the opportunity to understand it, to see that. It be the slowest, pill, puss, noodle head ass bitches sitting on the jury stand. All they give a fuck about is upholding, maintaining white supremacies. Cheers to that and all that shit, okay? Something's gonna really has to happen at this point in time, bitch. Shit, Martin Luther King Jr., he even knew he was a sellout towards the end of his life. So did Malcolm X. Fuck is you talking about? Y'all want to segregate, leave us alone. Like, I don't know a group of people that say they hate black people so much, but quick to run to do some egregious shit to draw energy out of us. Feel like y'all ain't got no motherfucking soul and trying to tap a lecture out of us, have us conquered, have us destiny swapping and shit with motherfuckers, bro. That shit is real evil. And if you don't know what they do in Texas with that witchcraft, go and watch Lovecraft Country and tell me that ain't that motherfucking KKK. So Cardi B has been advocating for Karmelo Anthony and Cyrus. Shout out to her. I think that it's important for her to just speak out. She does whenever she want to. Like, y'all think these celebrities don't be seeing what's going on? They do. They do. They just don't be talking about it. And suddenly she's talking about it. I don't know if it's a government op because she's a Democrat and Trump said, I don't fucking know. All I know is she tweeted out, well, just freaking wow. Disgusting. This is not justice. This is trying to make an example. It definitely is trying to make an example in Collins County. And the example was made, and all them niggas that sat up there and lied on this boy did not want to face that smoke and don't know they still got a plan for you two. Okay, you a certified snitch, nigga. You ain't even sell no dope, and you done snitched and ratted, and you in a nigga paperwork for the rest of your life. I cannot wait until it's all revealed. The actual videos, we must see that to compare it with other things. Other people got the videos because they recorded it from Meta Glasses at Frisco ISD. I wonder if them white folks gonna feel bad about what they did to this boy when they realize that even the darkening of the tent was edited, not just a microscope on Karmelo running, even the tent, okay? And things, people went and watched the video at Frisco. It was not edited so much. Then it got smaller and smaller where you can't even see the second half of the tent because there's something there they didn't want you to see. And anybody that can think critically would know that. Even if these white people over there in Collin County think critical about whatever was going on, they still found him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt for the murder, not manslaughter, but murder. Because there's something that the whole town knows that they don't want us to see. And it's okay because we've been living this way and we're going to continue to be this way regardless of what you say, sir. You think you're going to testify for Karmelo because y'all was on the same team? Aren't you going to LSU? Didn't I speak to you and your dad? Do you care about your dad's livelihood? The fuck are you talking about? Yeah, it definitely should have been televised. People are tuning in. I do want to see and show you that some guy went out there turning up in his racist goddamn county, and as he started turning up, he got arrested. Who is this right here? Oh, let's see.
You hear me? You got up everybody. You went in that court. You documented from left to motherfucking right. You didn't leave no row unturned. The red was in. And I want to thank you. It's red. I want to stay ahead and talk about it. It's all right. Why you got that Masonic lodge on your courthouse? It's red, yeah. Where's us? But that's all right. Because God, where's his soul? God for the whole universe.
Now you wanna come over here now, but you won't come when it's the time of de-escalation shit. Come on, man. Y'all wanna come now.
He's coming now to antagonize. They don't like black people showing each other love. Oh, hell no. They got, we need them angry and upset to feel better about ourselves, to feel like we doing a job, to, like, these people really only wake up to conquer and dominate black people. Why don't you leave people the fuck alone? Like, dead ass. Like, y'all done let Mr. Child sell all the crabs in the bag, fucking stiff ass weeds in our neighborhood and kill up all children. And now y'all got Karmelo Anthony in a situation. And these are Proud Boys. This is the heart of Donald Trump's Republican MAGA party right here. So don't sit up here and think that motherfucker's not involved and ain't got shit to say with his big diaper booty ass.
Peace. Y'all won't come when it's ruckus.
Back up them steps. I'm gonna find them boys. Why is downstairs making me
Thank you for all. And people feel like the mother sold him out because she should have told him to testify. I do too. You got me fucked up, bitch. You know, I know so much lie. I'll testify first and then last. Okay, I'm gonna testify right now. I'm gonna make sure I bring up Hunter's name because the only way that they're not gonna believe me is if Hunter has to show up. Because I'm finna throw you under the bus. Yes, Hunter, both of them was jumping me and they had all these black boys surrounding me and I was disappointed. I didn't know what to do. I was embarrassed and he kept on pushing the issue. Literally, they beat him up, pulled them back in and beat him up, pulled them in, and then he poked them and then he ran up top and ran on down there. That's exactly what happened. But they don't want you to see all of that. That's why they got this shit cut and edited and jumping time codes and shit like that, bro. Like they doing a worse job editing than they did with the fucking Kanika Jenkins footage. And that shit was spooky. Y'all, who remember the footage in Kanika Jenkins walking and they say somebody was walking with her. They got to edit it and time codes jumping all over the place. Man, I seen a nigga taking the goddamn video and spinning it saying she was laying down being carried. She wasn't even walking. I was like, what the fuck? Niggas did the most with that footage. And they did the most with this footage in this racist ass motherfucking courthouse because any real critical thinkers, even the ones on the jury, they had to make a conscious decision. I have to live here. This is McKinney, Texas. This is Proud Boy town. My family lives here. You think I'm going to uproot my life? You think no. It's going to be some It's going to be some weirdo that was actually, besides the video, it's going to be weirdos that actually was at that track meeting or somebody, not even just weird, somebody reformed, somebody who's tired of this shit, somebody who's sick and tired and want to just completely break away. In due time, somebody's going to crack. And it's not surprising for us to find out that them niggas that he called friends named Eddie, him, or even the one that he called from his own school, they probably slip up. They probably mention it or say it, but no, they're not going to say nothing. It's easy to sell out another black person because for some reason these niggas feel like they high when they get a white person to clap for them.
Come on, man. Y'all want to come now when it's peaceful. Y'all want to come when it's ruckus.
Back up them steps. I'm going to find them boys. Why is downstairs making me
Thank you for all that you do.
It's a ritual. Don't get me started. What ritual you keep playing?
I fear for her life that black man that say, oh, Quacker's a belt rocker. Y'all, yeah. I feel for them because they got y'all tag numbers. They got fucking indexes on you, okay? This shit is like they live, okay? They taking satellites and every fucking thing. They clocking y'all, and they're going to take that frustration out on y'all. You was safe because these cameras are here. That's them Proud Boys over there, man.
Y'all voted for that man. Y'all did that.
I'm looking at that.
Y'all did that. But justice will come for all people. And
the Lord put his scales on people.
Oh, shit.
I'm just going to expose it. I told you 10 years. Probation at least.
Let me get up here.
And then you just
So she said she finna put a curse on the police. And you think the police ain't stole all magic and using it against us?
And then you just saw.
That's quotes to go and watch Lovecraft Country on HBO.
Over the red light. Over the red light.
All of this for what? What the fuck?
It's okay. Fuck you, motherfucker. God got it. God got it. God got it.
God got it, man. Y'all better stop with all that shit out here.
Chimping out, just niggered them everywhere.
Oh my goodness, did you hear her? She said that so passionately. And you know her parents done taught her how to shoot and everything. Just chimping out everywhere. I mean, but real talk, just she got a First Amendment right to say that. It ain't like she saying it to antagonize people. She's basically saying it under her breath, like they been doing the whole time. Okay, we don't care. Nobody, you're not hurting nobody. You're not threatening to spray anybody. You ain't even confident about what you're saying. Look how you looking over to the side. You just said the hard NER in Collins County, and they know what you look like, and that's just what it is. And I guess you're a proud boy daughter or whatever. Like, just my whole thing is, if you racist, just show your shit, bro. Just show your shit, and I guarantee you niggas would not fuck with you, won't care about you or nothing. Give a fuck about you being racist, but don't come out here acting like shit is sweet and everything is good and I'm supposed to be in control and you're supposed to be able to say and do whatever you want to do on all levels. Like, here's the new mugshot of Karmelo Anthony. This is not new. This is the same motherfucking mugshot. Y'all just cut his hair. But hey, this new mugshot of Karmelo Anthony in the Collin County Jail as he spent the night of his 35-year sentence for unalignment. He will be transported to prison in the coming days. Do y'all think this is new? I mean, it looks like him, but shit, I thought this nigga looked tough. Look like he gonna go and stab up him a couple niggas to pull ranking in there. I don't know, but let me stop saying that because I don't want to demonize him. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that he's not crying, bald eyes, and look like he's broken already before he get in there. So that indicates there's a level of, but again, this looked like the same picture that Fox News put out a long time ago. They just fixed up his hair according to how he looked in court because there was too many witnesses. This looked like the same shit, bro. But only in due time. Well, no. So I guess this is Karmelo Anthony's lawyer who came out and spoke.
Let her talk.
This was a legal lynching that happened in here today.
We can't hear. All right.
I said as a former prosecutor, this was a legal lynching that happened in this slaughterhouse. This is a slaughterhouse. This is not a courthouse. This courthouse is designed when you would come here and you look like us to slaughter you. That judge intentionally.
Let her talk.
That judge intentionally what? I need to know everything she was saying, Representative for Karmelo. That judge intentionally what? Because we haven't had any actual lawyers to speak out about what was going on in the court, okay? This is a clear example of when you big and you bad and you making a lot of noise and you position yourself as the leader, they're going to get you to tame you as a way to show the other niggas what's up. So in context of Karmelo, Austin was a big ass bitch. That nigga was 2 times bigger than Hunter. A big sloppy body motherfucker, a big goofy, sorry, good for nothing. How the fuck you come from being a football player and now you want to do shot put, right? So you got to get the biggest nigga up out of there to let everybody else know that they got to fall the fuck back. That's how I work in any gang-like culture. And you know the police is the biggest gang that started as the KKK. Shout out to Queen Sheba Dar.
In front of Collin County Courthouse here in McKinney, Texas, and the jury has made a verdict in the punishment phase of the state versus Karmelo Anthony. The jury has issued a punishment of 35 years.
Okay, we got that. Definitely got that. I want to get to this part. So the mugshot instantly went to the top. Watch this. I said, hopefully he's safe and will continue to fight his case. That's a guy's given right. You got the right to continue to fight your case. Watch all the racist people come out. I want to hear this dude right here went to jail. This dude.
The same thing that you were going to do to her, we both got our hands behind our back. Let's have a conversation. Why did you get in her face? Why did you get in her face? You did. You approached a black woman. Don't do that. That is a woman. 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 Pussy. That is a woman. Pussy. That is a woman. That is a woman. That is a woman.
He don't care nothing about black women. Here's another dude that got into a man holding White Lives Matter sign outside the Karmelo Anthony trial was involved in a physical confrontation with another individual during a tense exchange near the courthouse.
That's assault. That's assault. That's assault.
Yeah, that's assault.
Hey, officer, you assaulting me. That's assault.
And then on top of it, it's always some coon ass nigga out here. All this white, are you Antifa? Are you that fucking pathetic to where you got to go out here to do something to get you some attention from white people and they still gonna call you the hard ER once that moment is over? You working for them. You up there and helping antagonize for their cause and they go stand right behind you and act like, oh, you're the token one. I don't go out there because just like them jurors, they know how to hide their racial bias and leave a goofy ass nigga like you to do the dirty work.
I'm just holding a sign.
Yeah, that is assault. That's assault. This man was disappointed that you had the nerve to be out here with that. And for him to do that, god damn, it just made me think a little bit different about Karmelo. Is that what you did to poke this nigga up?
That's assault. Hey, officer.
At least that's how they painted it.
That's assault.
That is assault.
I was just standing there.
That actually you battered him because you touched him. Okay, you all in his face and acting like you gonna hit him. That's assault. See, niggas need to know the law. Niggas need to know the law. You assaulted him. You definitely assaulted him in camera. You going to jail, as you should. And don't waste nobody's time and resources saying you're not guilty if you know you motherfucking guilty, okay? All this shit right here.
Get away from there. I'm just holding.
It's too much foolishness going on out there. This is when Karmelo Anthony's family left. Where did his father and his mother go? Like, why the fuck is the mother always speaking for him and the father has never spoke for him? I feel like the father got 3 other kids to raise. They moved from New Orleans because he was too soft to be over there. Now you're in Collins County, just like the rest of them niggas that sold your son out. Did you sell your son out too? You ain't speak for him, not at the press conference. You ain't speak for him at his sentencing hearing. Like, you just done and through with that nigga because you got other 3 kids that you got to live in this community and now you want to shuck and jive. Like, are you finally going to have that conversation with Jeff MetCalf to keep them GoFundMes and shit going? Are you finally going to have that? We can have passion for your son later and shit. Like, this is really fucking weird because believe it or not, like, in the worst way, these people's souls are tied together. Cause after this video, I don't. What else is there to report? Unless this nigga file his motions in his appeal, or they try to do some dumb shit to him. I'm not listening to Al Sharpton or Charleston White no more. They should have been there. Talking about they coming this day, that day, bitch. You just there to stir the motherfucking pot and get you a click in the view.
Get out the way, y'all get hit.
Grab him some room, guys. Let's get out of here.
Damn, that's what you call a walk of shame. The MetCalfs didn't come through that door. I think that the judge gave them a curfew to be from out in front of his courthouse at 9 p.m. and that Klan rally starts in the courthouse. Anyways, here's something interesting about Karmelo that I found should have been presented through way in questions from his mother, and maybe this would have lightened the sentence down from 35 to probably like 20 or whatever. It's the small things that you do in life. So I just want people to recognize the good in this gentleman, even though he made a crucial mistake that destroyed lives, destroyed families, honestly. Anyways, almost 4 years ago, Karmelo Anthony saved someone's life. Don't allow these trolls and mainstream media tell you otherwise. They are trying to do character assassination against his image like the dominant society always do. 4 years ago, he was not in Texas. He was in a whole nother state. You know, he saved somebody's life in the state of Texas. I mean, the state of New Orleans, where he grew up at, where people knew him at, where he wasn't an outsider, where he was a local hero. And maybe he should have stayed at. And his black ass wouldn't be in this situation right here. So, you know, with his family walking out of court, to me, that didn't say that they don't support him. Well, to me, that says that they probably done spent up the GoFundMe on all that they didn't spend on legal fees. They didn't have crab balls and all this other shit that they said that MetCalfs had to. And don't plan on putting no money on his books. Don't plan on really being there. Just basically don't want to hold yourself accountable for what your 17-year-old child do. We all know in the black community, we're told that if somebody fuck with you, do whatever, pick up whatever and bust them in their head. And guess what? That shit got a black boy fucked up in the court of law who didn't testify on his own behalf. Is you cool? Bitch, I would have been up there like Kyle Rittenhouse and shit like this motherfucker. Bitch, I would have act like I was revenge of the nerds out there, bitch.
It showed very clearly that a black boy was allowed not one black soul on a jury. An all white jury convicted him in 2 to 3 hours. We know that they did not prove their case. They are
well. That's the thing. You have to be specific. Like, I want to interview these people because there was no actual lawyers breaking this shit down. I am so disappointed in the journalists, especially the ones that were supposed to represent, you know, the black culture and allow black people. Like, you ain't did nothing but report basic facts. You ain't give no actual theories. You know what? You know I'm so fucking good to the point to where when I was covering the Diddy trial and the Milagro-Grams trial, their attorneys went into court and told them, are you, they in the Milagro-Grams trial, they asked Milagro, do you know that guy right there? She said, yes, he's a YouTuber. Are you looking at his videos? Because not only was I covering the case, but I knew where objections should have been placed. I know the evidential rules. And, you know, sometimes I'm like, okay, I know California has this evidence rule, but it got to be similar to Texas. Let me see. And I would have been able to call out, like how I called out the live streaming of the fucking prosecutor putting fabricated evidence and only authenticating it through the testimony of an investigator, not anything forensic or anything actually credible. Nothing but the testimony of an investigator who had no foundation other than his spoken words, a black one at that. I don't get fall for that shit, bitch. You got to know, okay? I'm sorry, okay? It's the same way you file a motion in court and you filing a declaration, you adding and attaching evidence, you got to put that shit in your declaration. I don't know what the fuck it is if it's not in your declaration. Your testimony is a declaration. You need something tangible, something actually so undeniable in order to present and couple it with testimony. They got a fucking fake ass edit of an edit of an edit, missing time codes all over the place, and the half of the 10 edited out video to convict this boy and send him up the road. So nobody has talked about that just yet. So I'm interested in the intellectual people that were inside the courthouse. I want to hear more from Karmelo Anthony's lawyer. Kim, what's her name? Kim. She's the lady that said that judge did something. I'm gonna find the clip. I want to hear from those people. I don't want to hear from somebody that's going out there acting like they're so traumatized because Sarah done boxed them out in the fucking courthouse, when in reality you doing all that shit to overcompensate for your lack of knowledge and lack of ability to actually fairly report on this. This is not a celebrity thing to where, oh, Cardi B wore this and this is what it is. No, it's like, it's court. Everything is being said. Y'all gotta look behind the scene and actually have a legal jargon to do this type of work. Sarah, that bitch ain't got no legal jargon. Nika Nightquill, Queen Sheba, they don't have a legal jargon. Why the fuck did y'all go to this court? Did y'all think it was gonna blow y'all up like Diddy? Like y'all didn't represent for the culture. Y'all didn't, and I'm so fucking disappointed.
Are currently sentencing Karmelo Anthony, but we know that the Next Generation Action Network put the first 10.
No, Karmelo had a black woman as an attorney too. I think her name is Kim something. Correct me if I'm wrong, or I can look it up here in a second.
$1,000 towards an appellate attorney. And we will fight Collin County like hell. I respected this process. I allowed and called for peace in this process. But Black America should be very upset about what went on today. Now, before all of the internet lawyers and before all of the interpretation of the situation, I'm only an advocacy leader. I'm not an attorney. I can only help families be able to navigate these processes when they find themselves in this type of situation. I can only allow lawyers to be what they are, lawyers. I can't instruct them. I can't stop them from doing anything.
So in other words, you have no relevancy other than coming up here with this tight ass shirt on, trying to sound like Martin Luther King Jr. Like you serve a higher purpose when your motherfucking rap sheet longer than the IT.
I have to respect the process just like anybody else. But what we saw today was flawed, unjust, and I ask that the community continue to pray for the Anthony family. I do not speak for them, but I know that the Next Generation Action Network will be here as support.
Oh, Lord.
My heart hurts right now.
Child, bye. Goodbye. Ain't nobody listening. This lady, who is this? This was a representative for Karmelo Anthony. She's a representative. Where is the full video? Like, who is this representative? I want to know. But anyways, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I have been so focused on this case, and I prepared to do it for 2 weeks. Fortunate for me, it's only been a week, and I have not been getting any sleep. I have been covering this case as best as I can, just dealing with the facts at hand and also the information that's publicly accessible. I think that it was a failure on my part not to make an effort to go to this case, honestly, because I think I could have done a lot better job, and I could have talked legal sense and actual critical thinking into the people instead of letting them fall for that bullshit, okay? I'm the type of nigga that they really are afraid of, okay? Somebody said it's time to die about it, black people. Listen, I'm not going to just flat out say that. For what? Like, I need y'all to know that white people are trained to die by it. Okay, they're gonna die by it. Rather it's the fucking 1776 or race war. They are. Too many niggas are scared. And then the thing is, even if I would die about it, I'm scared that ain't nobody gonna have my back. I'm scared that I'm just gonna be another one that bites the motherfucking dust because my own people couldn't get on cold at all. It's one of the most disheartening, heartbreaking things I've ever experienced in my motherfucking life when it comes to my own people. My own people disappoint me more than white people. Fuck is you talking about? Whatever happened to the days to where, you know, like when you from the neighborhood, your brother and sister gonna jump in when you fight a nigga in the neighborhood, and that nigga in the neighborhood gonna jump in when you fight an outsider. That's exactly what happened to Karmelo Anthony in a Proud Boy town, in them bitch ass, no good ass, scared ass, folded up ass niggas that ain't gonna die by shit, committed perjury on the oath to sell another brother down the fucking river, and the white folks proud about it. That's it. That's all I seen, and that's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. Oh, this is Karmelo Anthony. The media didn't want you to see of him carrying a blicky and flicking a bird with a lighter. Okay. I mean, what does it say? I mean, if he was white, this would be like, oh, that's just another picture. You ever notice that white people can do shit and get away with it that we can't? You know, I'm not jealous of nobody. You know what? I always wanted to be a swimmer. And I was so jealous. I was like, I can't swim. I got too much going on. I can't motherfucking swim. You know? I mean, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I got too much down there. Like, nah, you can't see none of this, bitch. That's the reason why a lot of black boys don't participate in swimming. They too down there. I can't put on no little ass thongs and shit like that. That's not allowed in the black community. No matter what sport you're playing. Fuck wrong with you. And that's fucking crippling too. This double standard. This double standard. I mean, even in the dating pool, it's okay to be gay as fuck as a white boy and still get you some coochie. But a nigga, you can't. It's fucked up how we put them standards on ourselves. So when I see him doing this, I'm not scared. I'm looking at him like, boy, I beat this shit out you. You ever played with me in your life? Or I see my little brother, a motherfucker that really don't even go outside and act like he tough as fuck. Gold grills in his mouth and taking 100 selfies and posting the one that looked the hardest when your ass ain't did nothing but played Roblox and Fortnite all day and never went outside. Real story. I got a brother like that. Crazy ass nigga. Hey man, if you touch me, I bet you won't touch me. I touch you, what you gonna do about it? Touch me again and see what'll happen. Don't that sound like Karmelo Anthony too? Two-parent household, a little brat, nigga. Your daddy failed you with his Dilbert looking ass. That nigga just taught you how to fight, nigga. That nigga should have sent you to karate class, did all that shit with his Dilbert ass. That nigga sold you out just like the rest of them niggas over there. That's fucked up. I know your mama can't even get wet for him no more. That's crazy. Okay, they keep on saying that Carmelo's football stats is 5'11", 162. Yeah, that website in that school is over in Proud Boy Town. Of course, they're going to edit and bump up facts and factual allegations to say that. There's people that was actually in the courtroom that said that he's a tiny, scrawny little guy. The police report, the official police report says he's 5'8" and 130 pounds. So I'm supposed to come out here and believe a sportscaster site that motherfucking, saying some shit that can be edited at any time. And look, they got Hunter MetCalf at 5'11" and 152. What kind of twin are you? This is factually incorrect. Stats updated November 17, 2025. What the fuck kind of twin are you if your brother died where he was 6'1" and 215? And I personally believe your brother was 6'1" and about 250 pounds. Because that's a big ass bitch I seen. And you suddenly 5'11", 150. So you done shrunk. He did look a little bit little today, like he on that good dope. Got all that money coming in from your brother death. And then I went down. Listen, in this whole story about him crying in his brother's arm, they said they ain't even seen that in the video at all. The nigga outside said that shit was fake before they played it in court. And then, for Jeff to sit up there and be boasting and saying Austin was this star and was this celebrity and was this big, then what the fuck is up with Hunter? Because look at the size difference. Look at Hunter, September the 12th, 2025. Great game for the Warriors. Hunter out due to concussion this week. Are you sure it was a concussion? Or is he just garbage and they just let him on the team because his brother got poked up, nigga? September the 12th, 2025. Here's Hunter. Could have used you tonight. My hat's off to a good Melissa team. Another lesson learned tonight. Hope you can play next week. Nigga, you on the sideline, dressed out, nigga. You the water boy. You the decorated water boy radio, nigga. You can't even function ever since Austin done left. You starring shit because you got a twin brother that's big as fuck trying to use people to bully people. Nigga, they put you on the sideline. And then, how you a football star and you changing your jersey numbers more than you change your underwear? Here you was number 12. On another one, you was a number something. You know, you still kept the number 12, September 12, 2025. But then, like, and that was an old picture right there, posted of you. This is an old picture, posted of you, buddy. But this right here is a picture of you from the game where you didn't change your number to 0 because you felt empty on the outside, and you should. I know it's killing you, how you done lied on that black boy and how you done had no choice but to join the Proud Boys. That's fucked up. The trauma bond over a big-ass lie against black people. You really are racist, nigga. September the 7th, here's the players of the week. Ben Wilson, Bucket Martin, Jason Crowley, Anthony Mendez. I bet you this probably the nigga that testified against Melo. These 3 niggas right here. Jack Turner, Alaba, and Jason White. These are the players of the week. Where's Hunter? Where is Hunter's highlights? So for you, Jeff, to keep on sitting up there acting like Hunter was Austin was the shit and had a bright future, what is that saying about this son right here? That's sitting up there lying and trying to perpetuate, oh, he was supposed to be the uncle to my kids. Where your kids at? Where your bitch at, nigga? Man, get out of here, bro. You was subpar, bro. You was subpar. So stop all this all-American shit. Y'all niggas is writing a Hollywood movie and they ain't even call you for the script yet. And anybody can make a movie about this. No matter how it is, the story always goes for those Nates from Euphoria. They always die in fucked up phenomenons. Sorry to say that. But at this point in time, it's not really just about Karmelo Anthony. It's really about a lesson that should be learned on both sides. And so as long as you sit up there and act like you're in the right and this person is all the way wrong because you have manipulated evidence and went into the legal system with an all-white juror to convict this boy, let me tell you something. Niggas is not dumb, and we're not buying that at all. At all. And I tell black people, listen, being black in America is the hardest thing to be. See, I'm the type of nigga that'll die about it. And y'all ain't serious, so I don't fuck with no fake people either. So I had to get up out of there. What the fuck you gonna do? If America won't have you build a new route to China, who will survive in America? 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 The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised.
What is in your life's blueprint?